We begin with breaking news from Russia. The prison agency there has just announced that imprisoned opposition leader Alexei Navalny has died. Russia's Federal Prison Service said in a statement that Navalny felt unwell after a walk on Friday and lost consciousness. It said an ambulance arrived to try to rehabilitate him, but he died. Navalny's press secretary said they hadn't been informed of his death and a lawyer was on the way to the prison. A spokesperson for Vladimir Putin said the Russian president had been informed of the 47-year-old's death, but the Kremlin had no further information at this point. Navalny was a staunch critic of the Kremlin. He was arrested in 2021 when he returned to Russia after receiving medical treatment in Germany for what medical tests showed was a nerve agent poisoning. And for more on this, we are now joined by Yuri Rusheto, who heads the DW Bureau in Riga. That's where the DW Moscow Bureau relocated to after DW was asked to leave Russia by authorities. Yuri, what more do we know at this stage?
Let me show you how we do stuff around here.
Actually, my department uses Monday.com, so I'm good.
A work management tool? No, that's not for me.
Well, Monday.com is all about flexibility, so you can make it your own. You could choose pre-built layouts.
Well, what we know so far is that Navalny allegedly collapsed while walking in penal colony number 3 in the Russian north. Apparently, he suddenly felt unwell, bad, and couldn't no longer be rescued. This is the official version of the Russian authorities. His fellow campaigners, the members of the so-called Navalny team, you said it, has not yet confirmed his death. This is what his press secretary reported. She says that Navalny's lawyer is on his way to the penal colony in the Russian north. An interesting detail maybe, during his lifetime, Navalny's name was almost never mentioned in official news. President Putin also never mentioned his name, but spoke of a blogger or a Berlin patient. This time, Russian news on state television was interrupted and announcers or speakers reported the news of Navalny's death.
What does that say to us about who Alexei Navalny was as a politician and, more importantly, what significance he had for Russia?
Well, Navalny was certainly the best-known Russian politician, extremely popular in Western countries, controversial in Russia itself, less known among older Russians, but among younger Russians. He was something like the shining light of the Russian opposition. He was often mentioned as the leader of the opposition. The problem is that there has been no common democratic opposition in Russia in recent years, so it's problematic to name him as an opposition leader. What is certain, however, is that he has done the most for the democratic processes in Russia, because he was the biggest and most dangerous critic of the exciting of the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And he is the only politician in Russia, or he was the only politician in Russia, who has managed to bring broad masses of critically thinking Russians onto the streets. Hundreds of thousands have protested against the Kremlin, against Putin and for Navalny in recent years, not only in Moscow and St. Petersburg, but across the whole country, even if thousands had to pay for these protests with their money or their freedom.
Who was he, though, as a person, and what was his life like?
Well, Alexei Navalny died at just 47 years old. In addition to his political work, he was a lawyer. He also earned his money as a lawyer. He had a wife and 2 children. His older daughter lives and studies in the USA. Navalny himself, of course, became known worldwide when he was poisoned in Russia on a flight in Siberia in 2020. He was then treated in Berlin in the hospital and recovered from his poisoning. And then he returned to Russia in 2021, where he was immediately arrested and put in prison. Many people were very surprised at the time as to why Navalny returned to Russia at all after the apparent attempted murder of him. But he said he was a Russian politician and he wanted to do politics in Russia and not from abroad. In addition to his political work, Navalny was known as an investigative journalist. His team published dozens of videos that exposed the alleged secret lives of Russia's top politicians. And the most famous video seen by millions of people in Russia and around the world was certainly a documentary about President Putin's supposedly secret palace on the Black Sea. So this video was certainly a sensation, and its protagonist, President Putin, was probably not happy about it.
You said a while back that he was certainly very popular. Alexei Navalny was certainly very popular here in the West. But how popular was he among Russians?
Well, look, as I said, the tragedy of Navalny as a politician was that he risked everything, but still didn't have very broad support among millions of Russians. Yeah, he was popular with the younger people. He used their language of communication, especially YouTube, internet, but he was less popular with the older population, and he wasn't even well known by some. This was also because Navalny was often seen as a protest politician, what he actually was. That means voters knew what he was against, but not what he was for. His return from Berlin after his recovery, after the treatment, was certainly, a very big topic, and he certainly won the eyes of many people as a brave man. But he became increasingly quiet after that when he was arrested and put in prison. So the state media completely ignored him, and the independent media reported on his harsh prison conditions and also repeatedly published his current political comments.
About those prison conditions, what do we know about them?
Well, if you believe his team's reports, his prison conditions must have been very, very harsh. Navalny was first held in a prison in Vladimir, near Moscow, in central Russia. Then he was moved some months ago to the penal colony number 3 in Yamalo-Nenetsk. He is said to have been constantly punished and transferred to a punishment cell. The few photos or videos that appeared during his detention showed a very sick man, but still trying to smile and spread optimism.
We'll leave it there for the time being. DW's Riga Bureau Chief Yuri Rusheto, thanks so much for that context.
Yeah.
And for more on this, let's talk to DW's Chief Political Editor, Michaela Kufner, who joins me now from the Munich Security Conference venue. Michaela, news of Alexei Navalny's death has trickled into the conference venue. What are some of the reactions you're hearing?
Well, there is a real sense of shock here. We saw the opening of the Munich Security Conference actually start with Christoph Heusgen, the director of the MSC, mentioning that Alexei Navalny had died, he said only a few minutes ago, and saying that the thoughts of everybody were with his wife, who's also here in Munich, actually, and his children. I spoke to an analyst here who reads a lot into the timing of this death, who says he doesn't believe that this was not a deliberate signal to world leaders gathering here at the Munich Security Conference. So we don't want to go down any kind of rabbit hole of potential theories here, but it is a striking coincidence that news of Alexei Navalny should come just as leaders gather here, with Russia deliberately not invited here, not wanted at the global table, which is there to resolve these many conflicts. Ukraine now towering high over this, but of course also the conflict in the Middle East. So a collective sense of shock here, but not of disbelief that this happened.
Michaela, it is hard to find, I suppose, arguably, any Russian politician who was so loved in the West as Alexei Navalny was. And I wonder what the attendees at the Munich Security Conference have told you about what that means for Russia going forward under Vladimir Putin.
Well, this is essentially seen as yet another sign of the decisiveness with which Vladimir Putin wants to disengage completely. The German foreign minister actually in a tweet on X before she headed here, she's on her way here right now, said that Alexei Navalny epitomized the wish for a free and democratic Russia like few others, and that is the very reason why he died. And that her thoughts were with his family. So clearly the message is being received here, that this is Russia cutting yet more ties and letting any kind of illusion that there might be some goodwill or good faith on the Russian side evaporate.
Is there any soul searching perhaps amongst delegates there or amongst Western nations? Because when Alexei Navalny went back to Russia, they were really unable to influence the Russian government at all as to when it came to how he was treated in prison.
Well, the entire conflict, the attack on Ukraine, is the proof, if anyone needed it, that there is no influencing Russia at this moment in time. I think it will be very interesting to hear what the Chinese foreign minister says here on Saturday, who wouldn't condemn that war directly in the past, but also China sending slightly mixed signals, being an ally of Russia, but at the same time not wanting any more conflict. This is clearly also hurting Chinese interests. So that will be a very interesting voice to listen to here. But as you said, Alexei Navalny deliberately left the safety of Germany and went back to Russia. So few people are surprised that this is how his life was tragically taken from him by the Russian regime, really. That is clearly sending a message, if anybody needed it, that engagement with Russia is not just difficult, it probably is not very constructive at this point in time.
We'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much for joining us. DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner, joining us from the Bayerischer Hof, the venue of the Munich Security Conference there. Thanks so much.
Volim ovaj čips.
To je samo čips.
Samo čips. Lay's napravljen od 100% kvalitetnog krompira, uzgaja se na održivi način i prolazi mnoge provjere kvalitete. Nepobjediv.
Alexei Navalny was the most prominent Russian opposition figure. Here's a closer look at his life and resistance to Putin's Russia.
It didn't take long for Alexei Navalny to become Russia's leading opposition figure. But his high profile angered the state. The former lawyer was regularly arrested and jailed for his anti-corruption campaigns. He also faced numerous criminal probes, including embezzlement charges, which eventually led to a conviction. He and his supporters always maintained the charges were politically motivated. In 2013, Navalny ran in the Moscow mayoral election. His second place galvanized his supporters, and in 2016 he said he'd stand for president against Vladimir Putin. His growing political profile only earned him more enemies. He faced attacks like this one at an airport in southern Russia. A year later, he was hospitalized after being hit with green chemical dye, leaving him almost blind in one eye. Navalny was barred from running against Putin in the 2018 election because of his embezzlement conviction. But nothing could stop him from campaigning against the president and Russian corruption. Not even frequent arrests. In December 2019, authorities raided his anti-corruption foundation office, the FBK. The following July, he was forced to shut it down.
Attention, this is not an emergency drill. FBK is closing.
And then a month later came the poisoning in Siberia. Navalny was left in a coma. Doctors believe he swallowed poison while drinking tea. He was eventually flown to Berlin, where he spent several weeks in intensive care. Confirmation that it was a chemical attack caused a diplomatic standoff with Moscow. The Kremlin denied it had anything to do with the assassination attempt.
The last thing Putin can do is put a large placard on the Kremlin which says, Alexei, please, under no circumstances, return back home. But coming to Germany was not my choice. It's a cool country, but I'm not here on my own
It's a very
free will.
long video, it just
I'm
keeps
here
on going.
because they tried to kill
Oh,
me.
damn nice. Okay.
Despite
Heyo,
the
how are you
risks,
doing?
in January
I am not
2021,
in the middle of my
Alexei
screen
Navalny
again.
flew back to Russia
Oh.
and was immediately
Automatic?
arrested.
What? 400k people this year?
Protests took place across the country that officials quickly stamped out.
We can just hope that they mobilize enough
But the
so they
Kremlin
can't
critic
fucking keep up the
couldn't be
production.
silenced.
They had problems with it
Within
already.
days of
I'm
his arrest,
hoping that the
his
problems
team
are getting
released a
serious enough
pre-recorded
so they can't
video
keep up the
in which he
production.
claimed
Hey,
Putin
Mustard,
owned a
thank you for the
lavish
sub.
secret
Thank you. How
palace
are you
worth
doing?
billions, alleging it was
How
all
is life?
financed
How
by
is life?
taxpayers' money.
The
Moscow
Baltics?
denied
I read
the
about
claims,
attacking
but the
Latvia
story
and my
quickly
island
went
by the
viral.
Baltic Sea. Oh.
Yet more proof of the political
British
leader's
terrorist on a hot
influence
seat?
and appeal.
For what reason?
He continued to manage the opposition movement.
Can I
he
get the
founded
British? Can I
from
get the
behind
British part
bars,
explained to me, please?
resulting in ever longer jail terms.
Just that one. Everything else is
By
alright. But like
August
British.
2023,
Brit?
he'd been sentenced to
A
more than
Brit?
30 years.
Oh, why?
His supporters convinced the Russian state had finally succeeded in
Happy
silencing its
Sandwich.
most vocal critic.
Cruel, but yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw the news, and I wanted to read more about it. I saw it like hours after it was dropped, and then there was Volkin? What's his name? The Navalny dude, the big one. And he said, oh yeah, we shouldn't trust the reports because they're coming from Russian media and you shouldn't trust the Russian media. And then I was like, oh shit, all right, maybe he's alive. And then a bunch of other people go, oh no, he's dead, definitely. And then I'm like, shit. And then his wife is like, oh no, maybe he's alive. We shouldn't trust the Russian media. And at this point, I mean, I guess it's fairly safe to assume he's actually dead. No. It's still Russia, but they did say that he died of a blood clot or something. So I imagine if that amount of details is getting into the public, we can like be certain. Oh yeah, North Korean ballistic missile. I'm kinda actually hoping that something happens strongly because of this. I'm not really expecting a response. I don't know. There's a part of me which is like, maybe now that Navalny is dead, maybe like Biden is gonna feel pressured to act. So because Biden's gonna feel pressured to act, he'll have to do something. I don't know if that's copium. I'm not sure if that's like... But like, come on. He did say, but it was like months ago. 2000, which year? 21? He did say that Russia is going to suffer consequences if Navalny dies while in prison. So, Putin sure is subtle. To be fair, Navalny was no danger to him. I'm actually I have a theory, actually. I have a theory on why he killed him now. But I don't know if it's too USA based. If that makes sense. I don't know if it's too USA based. But I don't think he killed him because Navalny was in any sort going to influence the elections. I think the elections in Russia are basically a sham. It's like the referendum, it's not a real thing. Like, elections are not a real thing. Putin knows elections are not a real thing. Even better, something very striking that I've read was Kyiv Post writing about how, now apparently they quoted their sources, and I don't know who their sources are, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it goes in line with everything we've been seeing so far. Kyiv Post has mentioned that Kremlin apparently doesn't fear Russians protesting. Kremlin doesn't fear Russians are going to protest this at all. There's no fear this is going to influence elections, and there's no fear that Russians are going to go out on the street, which to me seems very expected because, come on, like at this point, if you expected them to protest, really? But because of this, I don't really think they did this because of the elections. I don't really think they did this to influence the situation in that sort of a way. What I do feel was a tiny bit maybe problematic. If you remember, was it Vlad Vexler, I think, sharing the source, that Kremlin wanted to allow Nadezhdin to run in the elections because he was supposed to be anti-war candidate, and then he was supposed to be miserable and he was supposed to lose, right? But then it turns out, and the specific source says he was getting 2-digit support. Was this like 10%, 11%, 12%? It's Russia. We can hope it was 13, right? I'm pretty sure it couldn't have been more than 13. But he was apparently getting 2-digit % when people were being polled, and then Putin was like, oh, okay, maybe our little experiment at democracy went a bit too far, maybe I don't really want to do it like this, because they're not really apolitical anymore. They're kind of getting into politics. They still support the war, though, important to remember. They support the war, they support the occupation of Ukrainian territories. They just don't really want Putin to be leading it, but they support all of it. So then he was like, do I really want to allow this man to run? Because like he could be the one in power now, so he is going to be the one taking power over this corrupt empire I have created, and then I'll be left with nothing. So he kicked Nadezhdin out. I think with Navalny, he might have had the similar situation with understanding that Navalny might be a bit of a player, getting people a bit too into politics, which is not really something Putin would have liked. The war isn't really going too well for them. Russians keep on being hit inside Russia. There's a possibility that they would have wanted to be led by someone who is not an incompetent dwarf shitting in his pants very often. So he could have been worried about Navalny because of that. I don't think he was worried about the elections. They don't do elections. But something like, I don't know, more people leaving. Just basically more people leaving. I think it was more people leaving. Not really anything else, not really anything extra. I definitely believe the war is not going well in the meaning of they're not winning. Currently, it's not really doing that well. With there being hits inside Russia, this isn't something that they would have expected. With the hits, even though I still don't know if like Ukraine, has Ukraine commented on the hit in Belgorod? I've got no idea if they commented on the hit in Belgorod. But something like this isn't really something that a society that is apolitical is accepting, right? They're not accepting it. Oh, it's not a ceasefire. It's not a ceasefire. There's no progress. But it's not a ceasefire. A ceasefire would mean that they're not shooting. There's lots of shit burning right now, and also there's lots of casualties. It's not a ceasefire. There's just not progress. Like the lines are not moving, right? But like Russians are not GG with the situation where like, you know, hey, there used to be a mall in Belgorod. Now it's not there anymore. They don't give a shit about Belgorod, really. This isn't like a moral thing of, oh no, our citizens are being killed. This is a thing of like, how dare Ukrainians strike us? How dare they fucking strike us? How dare they strike our oil depots? How can they do this shit? Right? This isn't something we were okay with. We were okay with sending our men to get butchered in Ukraine. We were GG with that. We were not okay with people here getting hit. That wasn't okay-ish, all right? So because of this, I do believe there was a possibility that Putin feared that they might want to choose someone else to be leading the country because he is seen as a bit incompetent. You know how he pretends that like there was a threat to Russia all of this time, existential threat to Russia? No one really takes him seriously because everyone knows he's eating shit. Maybe they actually felt, at least a tiny percentage of society, like there was some sort of an existential threat. So yeah, I believe he wanted to get rid of Navalny. The reason I believe he got rid of Navalny right now is because the Republicans are taking a break. Genuinely, like fucking unironically. In 2 weeks, who's gonna remember this? Who's gonna remember this? Russians, they have already forgotten. They had no response basically already from the start. They've already forgotten. His body isn't going to cool down properly. They'll never mention his fucking name again, okay? For Russians, this means nothing overall, and for the tiny percentage that actually cared about looking for possible alternative to Putin, now that doesn't matter either. But I do believe in big part he was willing to try this when he was sure that there's not going to be a strong outside response. Because like Europe is already giving basically, I don't want to say everything it can give, but like a lot. Germany just promised a new package of aid, a huge package. We're doing okay-ish, right? But I believe that because the Republicans are now on a break, he knew they couldn't get pressured into making a decision. So this was a good time to do it. Or are they gonna do nothing? Who's gonna be talking about Navalny in 2 weeks? Nothing. This isn't going to influence anything. Navalny's wife is even talking about this right now. You think she's gonna talk about this in 2 weeks? She's gonna trend a fucking hashtag on Twitter. She's not gonna be talking about this in 2 weeks. So, yeah. There was possibility to have some strong moves in this situation. I'm still kind of hoping our politicians respond, but also I don't really think they will. Robotine. Concentrated troops on the Orikhiv front, on the Avdiivka front. Oh, more on the Orikhiv than on the Avdiivka. It's likely Russians will try to make progress towards the liberated village of Robotine. To be used as an ashtray? I mean, yeah. Pay attention to the village of Robotine. Russians have set a goal to gain some success there by storming in, just as they are trying to do in Avdiivka. Yeah, when it comes to Avdiivka too, someone mentioned Avdiivka. The situation is very dire. As far as I understand, it's still under control. At least that's what the reports have been recently. So Russian losses still are very, very high. I'm not even sure. I saw some reports about like wild numbers. I'm not certain they're true. I've seen like, was it 711? That seems way too much. Like I don't know. I don't know how to confirm. There's nothing to confirm. It seems very, very high, but you know, I am hoping that this is a relatively smart way of fighting, and I'm hoping Syrskyi is smart enough to know when to pull out, basically. Biden warns of devastating devastating consequences. Yes. Now, this was 2021. I don't know if he's gonna do something. I don't know if he's gonna do something really. I'm not sure what, if anything he's preparing. I hope he does something. But, you know, it's Biden, so... To Vatniks, Navalny was a traitor and a Western ally. Yeah, true, but like it's Vatniks. As if Biden can remember what he said 2 years ago. True, okay, fair. To be fair, he probably had the Dark Brandon meme prepared. I'm not sure he has a meme prepared in case Navalny dies. I'm not sure his team was that, you know, up to the plans. So, we'll have to see. Avdiivka? The main intermediate task has been completed. Our soldiers have practically left the most dangerous areas. Most of the city, except of something in the 9th quarter. Does that not mean it has somehow become easier? The situation is getting worse. Bakhmutsky, the enemy stormed in the direction of Ivanivsky, was repulsed at the exit lines. Occupiers came almost close to the village. Two ongoing battles. The occupiers got nuts. Heavy fighting continues. Logistics has deteriorated. That seems very problematic. In other directions, there are no significant changes. Fair. Almost endless pool of manpower. It still sucks when you see Ukrainians losing something, though. So, but yeah, both sides do have strong amount of manpower. Russia obviously has a lot more, though luckily it seems to be very willing to waste a lot more of their lives, so that's good for us in a way. Percentage-wise, I'm not sure percentage-wise how these two would compare. The news are mostly like, oh yeah, that's true. I'm not getting this one. I'm not getting that one. Oh, what's this? France, Greece, and Cyprus blocked the decision to purchase ammunition for Ukraine outside the European Union. Oh, this was already a thing. Oh, French is blocking it again. France said it would allow purchases outside the European Union if the bloc did not fulfill its promise to supply 1 million shells by March, which it will. France doesn't want to disclose the total amount of its supplies to Ukraine despite pressure from Germany. According to press reports, there should only be 3,000 artillery ammunition per month from France, which is a joke. 3,000? 3,000? My dude. GG with wishing for death of actual soldiers invaded in an invasion. I'm GG with that. Won't act as if I'm better than that, you know what I mean? It's soldiers. We've seen what they leave behind. Now, what happens with people cheering for deaths of civilians is a whole different thing. But when it comes to soldiers, I'm like, I don't really care about them. No, it's like going, oh, would you want would you be okay with like cheering for Nazis dying? Yeah, of course I fucking would. They're invading. They're currently engaged in an attempted genocide. I couldn't give less of a shit about them, really. Wait, saw this. Ayo. 400,000 people in 2024. During this year, Russian Federation produced 4 million artillery shells, several hundred tanks. Man. They need to what? They need to replenish the empty warehouses and preserve the strategic part of the ammunition for the defense of the state. Russia has not produced hundreds of tanks. 80% of tanks that are said to be new are refurbished T-72s. We think copium? Are we high on copium? Or is it true? I don't know how this goes. I'm not sure how these things go. Ukraine withdrew from the filtration plant in the east and Zenith in the south. This is good news, since avoiding an encirclement should be a priority at this point. Alright. It seems the coke plant and Kvartal high-rises are the current Ukrainian strongholds. Nice. Nice. I've been fucking thinking about clusters. Why aren't we... Because, like, you remember when Bakhmut was being taken over and cluster bombs have just come into the action at the point and they were so useful? What happened with that? Where are they? Oh, damn. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Pandur, to be honest, we're gonna ban you from the stream. Alright, like you're fucking annoying with your stupid ass messages. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, Telegram, nice. Ukraine soldiers account on Avdiivka. I don't know which one. What do you have? USA it stopped months ago. Yet none of them left? Oh, that fucking sucks. Wait, what is this? Oh, wait, I'm up in the chat. I need to go down in the chat. I'm going down in the chat. I'm going down. Change the flag. Of course. Of course. I'm just leaving this one here because I like it. I like the meme. I think it's a good meme. It's kind of what I expect at this point. Drinking some champagne, and that's about that, really. Turning up in very pretty, nice-looking dresses. Oh, Putin, you're going to pay for this. I'm gonna shine another hashtag on a goddamn building in USA. USA Embassy, watch out. Would be nice, but no. Fair. As in politics, no one likes unpopular decisions. Personnel withdrawal, no. Another case, heroic defense. For this you can and get a promotion. There were 2 exit attempts on the first night, February 14th, the first 10 went. They had to get into a gunfight. The artillery has already been fired. 3 injured made it back. So then the evacuation of the last one took place in the morning. I and 3 other volunteers carried them. Oh, from 1 injured we became 4 more. What? Yeah, the machine translation is terrible, but I think I'm getting it. Basically a horrible situation. And they're still not being evacuated. So we're like not pulling out at all? Not at all? I had plus memes already about Navalny. Deserved. It fully deserved. What else could you expect? Heavy means difficulties often. Oh, box is the evacuation vehicle. Oh, that is a lot more positive than what I thought a box was. Oh, that is a lot more positive than what I expected, to be honest. Nice. But yeah, Ukraine said everyone got out safe. Technically, they didn't really say that. But they did, how to say, we're getting a lot of political messages strongly. I believe we'll have to wait. It's one of those situations where, like, for a few days you will not know what happened. We'll have to wait and see if Syrskyi is going to fail this the way he failed Bakhmut, is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, of course, I'm not really the one for breaking news types of things. You can't really tell how the situation is unfolding currently. You never can do that at the moment, right? You have to wait a little bit. You have to see how it plays out, and then you can analyze what went wrong. Everything else is like, you know, you're getting different accounts from different people, especially if you get different accounts from different soldiers, and then you're trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I do think definitely they should be evacuated. But yeah, we'll have to see what Syrskyi does. We'll have to see what he does, and we'll have to, you know, see if he learned something from his previous mistakes, or if he just continued to be the old Soviet general he used to be, in which case, I don't know, I hope they figure out a way to replace him as soon as possible. Oh, they gathered for Navalny. Oh, nice. In Tbilisi. Nice. That's lovely. That's incredible. They always do this little sort of a thing. You know, they always do that sort of a thing. Like, they're gonna do a little thing now. It was like with Prigozhin. You remember when Prigozhin died? And for like the morning after, they were bringing flowers to his memorial. Remember that? Morning after, they were bringing flowers, and there were talks of like, oh, horrible, Putin has killed Prigozhin, what do we do, what do we do? And then no one really did anything, and they forgot about him. I'm pretty sure they've completely forgotten about him at this point. I don't even see him mentioned. That's gonna happen here too. Like, they're gonna gather today. I feel it's just gonna be today. And it's not even gonna be in Moscow. It's gonna be in like a bunch of other cities, but you're gonna see videos of it. So they're gonna gather a little tiny bit, and that's gonna be that, really. That's gonna be that. A little, you know, protest with mobile phone lights, the same way they had that little protest. Where was it? In St. Petersburg, where they danced a little bit against mobilization, and then they went home and forgot about it. Same shit. Russian gathered in Moscow for Navalny. No chance. No fucking chance. They waited too long to give the order to evacuate. Nobody wants to retreat. Yeah. Girkin, you wanna go for a walk? No, I'm good. Oh, he's been alive for really long, considering the fact he is himself. What's going on? Why? Or is he just not the priority anymore? Did they forget about him? Do you think they forgot about him already? He made a whole little thing with like Russian patriots and bullshit. Oh, Angry Patriots. Yeah, Angry Patriots. I'm sure the Angry Patriots Club will be here any moment to save me. You think Girkin is gonna get a little protest? Oh, I think he won't. I'm not really certain about that, to be completely honest. I feel he's already forgotten. Or maybe it's about the quality of people following him. Is that what you're getting into? Because it was Visegrad that posted it. Because Navalny was surrounded by Russian libs, and Russian libs are, Russian libs. They have one strength, and that is bitching online. They don't really do anything offline. They don't do protest offline. They don't do any sort of activism offline. They sip on champagne and wear pretty dresses. What's their strength is bitching online and making hashtags. So of course they are not going to go out to protest. But Girkin is actually surrounded by violent people. But then again, so was Prigozhin. Prigozhin was also surrounded by very violent, very dangerous people. He was a father figure to them. Plus, he was close to them constantly. He wasn't like with Girkin. He's in prison right now, right? When someone is in prison, when someone is like separated from you for that long, I feel you kind of lose that connection to the person. Prigozhin was constantly there with Wagner. And then he got exploded, and then Wagner forgot about him in a day. I feel they would forget about Girkin the same way. Argentina with Hitler. Wait, what did I say? I have to show you the stuff that I saved. I have to. Have you seen this? I saved some stuff on Russia, but like, do I want to watch it? I saved some stuff on Biden. I saved his new campaign video.
Advocate.
But advocate away.
Yes, okay, I'll tell you. You should challenge in the rules of an interview, and you're a master in your business. It's not for me to give you a lecture about that, but you should challenge some ideas. For instance, you didn't talk about freedom of speech in Russia. You did not talk about Navalny, about assassinations, about restrictions on opposition in the coming elections.
I didn't talk about the things that every other American media outlet talks about.
Why?
Exclusively.
Yes, this
because
is my
those are
question.
covered, and because I have spent my life talking to people who run countries in various countries and have concluded the following: that every leader kills people, including my leader. Every leader kills people. Some kill more than others. Leadership requires killing people, sorry. That's why I wouldn't want to be a leader.
Not your fucking political
that
opponent.
press restriction is universal in the United States. I know because I've...
Wait, there's a link? There's a link, there's a link, there's a link.
It really is. It's consequential. And the clock is ticking. And this has to happen. We have to help now. You know, we have to realize what we're dealing with Putin. All of us should reject the dangerous statements made by the previous president that invited Russia to invade our NATO allies if they weren't paying up. He said if an ally did not pay their dues, he'd encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking. But let me be clear. This is an outrageous thing for a president to say. I can't fathom.
Man wanted to say, what a retard.
Over their graves here and there.
And then he was like, I can't.
America stands by our sacred commitment to our NATO allies.
I should clear my mind.
As they have stood by their commitments to us repeatedly. Putin and the whole world should know, if any adversary were to attack us, our NATO allies would back us. And if Putin were to attack a NATO ally, the United States will defend every inch of NATO territory.
He's a NATO ally.
Now's the time for even greater unity among our NATO allies. To stand up to the threat that Putin's Russia poses. You know, I send my deepest condolences to Alexei's staff and supporters. We're going to continue his work despite this loss, despite all of Putin's desperate attempts to stamp out the opposition. And most of all to his family, especially to his wife, his daughter, and his son, who have already sacrificed so much for their family and a shared dream for a better future for Russia. So I just want to say God bless Alexei Navalny. His courage will not be forgotten, and I'm sure it will not be the only courage we see coming out of Russia in the near term. Thank you. I'll be happy to take a couple questions.
Sir, first, was this an assassination?
The answer is that we don't know exactly what happened, but there is no doubt that the death of Navalny was a consequence of something that Putin and his thugs did.
And to be clear, you warned Vladimir Putin when you were in Geneva of devastating consequences if Navalny died in Russian custody. What consequences should he and Russia face?
That was 3 years ago. In the meantime, they faced a hell of a lot of consequences. They've lost and or had wounded over 350,000 Russian soldiers. They've made them in a position where they've been subjected to great sanctions across the board, and we're contemplating what else could be done. But what we were talking about at the time, there were no actions being taken against Russia. And look, all that's transpired since then.
Can you say whether you're looking at increasing sanctions on Russia right now?
We're looking at a whole number of options. That's all I'll say right now.
Is there anything you can do to get ammunition to the Ukrainians without a supplemental from Congress?
No, but it's about time they step up, don't you think? Instead of going on a 2-week vacation. 2 weeks. They're walking away. 2 weeks. What are they thinking? My God.
Okay.
This is bizarre. And it's just reinforcing all the concern and almost,
all right.
I won't say panic, but real concern about the United States being a reliable ally. This is outrageous.
Are you more confident now that you'll get the Ukraine aid given what's happened today?
Well, I hope to God it helps. But I mean, the idea we need anything more to get the Ukraine aid. I mean, this is, in light of a former president's statement that saying Russia, if they haven't paid their dues to us, go get them. Come on. What are these guys doing? What are they doing?
Sir, how concerned are you about the anti-satellite capability that Russia is developing, and what is your administration planning to do in response?
First of all, there is no nuclear threat to the people of America or anywhere else in the world with what Russia is doing at the moment, number one. Number two, anything that they're doing or they will do relates to satellites and space and damaging those satellites potentially. Number three, there is no evidence that they have made a decision to go forward with doing anything in space either. So what we found out, there was a capacity to launch a system into space that could theoretically do something that was damaging. Hadn't happened yet, and my hope is it will not.
Thank you all. Thank you.
That wasn't really an answer.
I'll take one more.
Thank you, Mr. President. Switching gears for a moment, have the Israelis presented a credible evacuation plan for the nearly 1.5 million displaced Palestinians sheltering in Rafah? And what would the consequences be for Israel if they move ahead with a full-scale ground invasion without clear measures to protect civilians there?
Bro!
Well, first of all, I've had extensive conversations with the Prime Minister of Israel over the last several days, almost an hour each. And I've made the case, and I feel very strongly about it, that there has to be a temporary ceasefire to get the prisoners out, to get the hostages out. And that is underway.
He's too patient with these
fuckers.
fuckers.
Still hopeful that can be done. And in the meantime, I don't anticipate, I'm hoping that
I've learned we have some new craft beer store opening. Hoping to go there next weekend.
So it's my expectation that's not going to happen. There has to be a ceasefire temporarily to get those hostages. And by the way, we're in a situation where there are American hostages. American citizens are being held hostage. It's not just Israelis, it's American hostages as well. And my hope and expectation is that we'll get this hostage deal. We'll bring the Americans home, and the deal is being negotiated now. And
I mean, you can always start drinking like energy drinks. I'll get some help. You can always start drinking energy drinks instead.
The center of the impeachment inquiry into you has been
Probably even worse.
Allegedly
Health-wise,
Your
yeah.
reaction to that, and should the inquiry be dropped?
It really is.
He is lying, and it should be dropped. And it's just been an outrageous effort from the beginning.
True. Now talk about Navalny again.
See you in Ohio.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, that was okay. That was okay. Not really happy with his little we're looking at a variety of options thing. Not really happy. I think he's doing alright, actually. I think the man is doing alright. Shut the fuck up. When it comes to his level of sanity and whatever, I think he's doing fine, genuinely. I don't really think he's... What the fuck is that? I don't really think he's as confused as people are trying to make him be sometimes. But also, I don't know. Maybe he just chills a lot before these types of interviews. But yeah, I thought that was good. I thought that was good. I thought that was an okay conference, despite the fact he didn't tell us what he's planning to do. And I would love to know what he's planning to do. And he just said he's looking at a variety of options, and I don't know what the options are, so I don't really know what he's planning to do, and it doesn't really make me happy. Yeah. He's too soft. Oh, Trudeau. True. If this was, you know, some more violent president, they wouldn't do that. Self-governing polity? Holy shit. No seaside. 0 out of 10. Basically Serbia, but tiny. Basically Serbia, but tiny. Loving the flag colors though, red, white, blue, in that particular order. I feel that's the best combination and the best like order for the colors to be in. So supporting the flag. Confused by this. Confused by this. Better than the American ones. Still relatively confusing. So, you know. Oh no, they also control these. Oh, they do control that. All right, then it's better. Then it's better. Why did they only show? Because of the allies? You have to figure out if they have a coastline or not. You can't like show me a coastline in one of them and then not show me a coastline in the other one. That makes no sense. That's not how it's supposed to go. Japanese rice beer. Oh, I tried that once. When me and my brother were really into... Ooh, that one. Hey, could be something like that. I remember the can was looking really cool. When me and my brother were really into anime, we bought it once. We bought some Japanese beer, and it was strong. It was a bit stronger than what I expected a rice beer to be, genuinely. But I've also tried that liquor. What's the Japanese liquor? They have like a specific liquor, and they always talk about it in anime. I tried that too. That too was stronger than I expected. Sake! It was sake, yeah. It was stronger than I expected it to be. I didn't expect that. I don't know why I didn't. It was sharp. It was sharper than what I expected. It was good though. Like, that was good. That was good. Polish porn star pussy in that used beer. Holy shit. Plum wine. Plum wine. Nice. Oh, that also sounds good. I need to try that. One time I tried banana rakia. That was good. That was good, to be honest. But I haven't really drank any of the weird and possibly concerning things that you people seem to have tried. You know what I mean? Yeah, say another clip. I have to show you another clip. It reminded me of, you remember Miss DPR? When she went and showed you those, like, everything for 10 rubles in a store. And she was holding those, like, dishwashing sponges. And she was like, ah! It reminds me of that.
Okay.
Look at this one.
Right. Here we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here, and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I guess
what a little clown. What a little... Do they not have that in USA? I was so confused about that. Hey, I haven't tried the Estonian one. I wanted to order, and then I had no money. And then I forgot later, to be completely honest. I completely forgot. Paulina's vagina bacteria. Oh. Monique's. Oh, you can get... Yeah, I'm never drinking that. I am never drinking that. Carlson is a degen. There was something interesting about his little walk through the supermarket. He like buys a bunch of groceries and he's like, look at how many groceries I can buy with just a few dollars here. USA is such a horrible country for this. Completely ignoring the huge difference in paychecks. Like I saw someone post shit about how Russians spend like around 30% of their average paycheck on just food and groceries. Americans spend around 10%. And my man's going there flexing about how many shit he can buy for an American paycheck. He's going there basically to like shit on every single Russian. He's like, look what I can buy. Look at all of these things I can buy. It's like when Germans come here and they're like, oh, I can buy so many things for a few euros, and then they buy a bunch of shit for euros. Like completely ignoring the fact that our paychecks are so much lower than theirs are. It's such a weird thing. Have to explain to an American that you have to put an euro in the shopping cart? Oh, they don't know. Oh, they genuinely don't have that. Pale ale beer made in Croatia. gotta try some Croatian ones. I tried some Croatian one recently. It was new in Kaufland. It was good. Tucker just pays his servants to do the shopping, probably. Ah, that also makes sense, though. That also makes sense. I would understand that. It kind of reminds me, though. You know what it reminds me of? You know those those jokes about like how USA broke USSR because of the convenience stores? Because like Russians would come there and be shocked at like how much there is to offer. Which one of the USSR president was there? And he like came to a store and he was shocked that it was stocked so much because there was so much food. And there's always these jokes that like the shelves that are really, really stocked, that like they could break USSR. People here often use that when we have like new shit coming into the store. And then you put it like on the shelves and everything is completely filled. And they're like, this would cause USSR to break apart. And it reminds me also of that. It's like kind of silly that an American man who has access to these types of stores in his homeland is coming to Russia now and being still amazed by something like that. It's a weird thing. And tell humor. Yeah, basically, I have very weird old people. I was happy actually that I didn't hear on the news or anywhere that Navalny has died, because I was kind of scared that they're gonna start a conversation with me about it. I was happy it came to Croatian news quite late. Today, you know what they're talking about today? Ceca having posters in Zagreb. We were getting salty over that today. There were war criminal posters in our main city. Luckily, people broke them, so I supported that. Still, it was weird to see them. It was weird to see them. I don't know why they were allowed. Apparently they were installed illegally, so I saw people from the city complaining about that quite a lot. And apparently someone wants to sue the firm that installed them because the firm installed them illegally in the first place. But yeah, we got war criminal posters in the capital city. Anti-Croatian war criminal, may I remind you? Not any war criminal. not a war criminal who was based. No. One of the anti-us. Oh, what is this? Garden? Hey, yo! A Yugo. Dark, strong, stout? Oh, Hungary? 8.8. It looks pretty though. It looks pretty, I want it. But also it's like a Hungarian, what if I die? You'll be listening to some psych. Are you going to the concert? Is there a concert today? Prijovic, Alexandra Prijovic. Is there a concert today? I know there was one yesterday. Lots of people from... Oh, there is? Ah, you're not going to that. Oh, damn. I know she has concerts. She sold out the arena for like 5 days, right? But lots of people from my area were there. Lots of locals, really. And I haven't seen the footage, so I don't really know what happened exactly. I do know that apparently she was singing some war criminal songs, and they weren't too happy about that. So when it came to like newer songs, she was singing, and she was singing some songs by like other singers too, and they were GG with most of them. And then she was singing some war criminal songs, and they weren't really too nice about that. So I do wonder what's gonna happen about, you know, that. I do wonder if there's gonna be more conversations about this, because completely full of her concerts. Yeah, mine are too. A lot of my friends went. I was invited to go, but like I have to wake up early in the morning, so then I was like, nah, not really. I'm not like morally opposed to going to Serbian concerts. It's just, why would you have to be singing old shit? You know, old shit is all war-ridden. Just don't go there. Oh, they're going to lay some flowers. Oh, they're doing protests. Yeah, why didn't she go to shoot pigs? She grew up in Croatia. She's like practically one of us. Maybe you could have, you know. I get an Afghan gun. Ah, nice. Like, still. Oh, they're bringing flowers though. Well, I mean, I guess that's all we're gonna get from them. It's something, isn't it? They called like 2 hours before the concert? Oh. Okay, that's silly. Very little money too? Really? Nah, bullshit then. Then bullshit, yeah. I thought they would pay a lot, I don't know why. 100 people lay down some flowers? Eh. Man, it's like you never know what to expect. But also, they still manage to disappoint, don't they? You never really know what to expect from them. But no matter what your expectations are, you look at them and they're fucking disappointing. What are you doing with this? Just like stay at home. Come on, what's the point? An agency works for them and they needed an extra photographer. Oh, wait, could you be... An agency works for them and the agency needed an extra photographer. So I assume you're not actually part of the agency usual lineup? Did they hire other like photographers to go and you were like an extra? Oh, you are? Why do they not pay you enough? Oh, that is cruel. Your second choice? That's cruel. They should pay you more. Second choice is already good. They should be paying you more. They're probably all there. Oh, so it's like less money because it's more people to pay. Let him winter in his direction blowing all. Why he's for us? Navalny is for Ukrainians as much as well, who else really? Girkin, I guess, is for Ukrainians. In the same way that the only value they can provide is creating some chaos in the Russian leadership and hopefully fucking up the military enough so it fails. But like, that's that. That's that, I guess. Kinda sad though, imagine. Man. Fuck, protest. I just nothing to smile about today, so they removed it. True. That too, that too. I mean, there's something to smile about today, okay? Where's that meme? Fucking horrible. Hey, I have to show you my news though. I have to show you my news. What did I save? What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? United States. I don't want to show you United States stuff. No one cares about United States stuff. Okay, it's United States. It is... Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? PolitiFact, the truth meter, on a photo showing Zelensky's apparent US naturalization certificate. It's a new Twitter thing. It's not authentic, but it exists. And they like shared it to claim that Zelensky was trying to run away to USA. Like he doesn't want to be supporting Ukraine anymore. He wants to be running off to USA.
A U.S. Secret Service agent. And according to the report, well, ostensibly this person is a whistleblower.
According to the report, he says.
U.S. Secret Service.
According to the report, there's no report.
He says he has documents claiming that the U.S. has already negotiated a plan to remove Zelensky from power, bring him to the United States as a U.S. citizen. And here you can see these naturalization documents, which have been provided, which he apparently leaked to the media. And you can see Vladimir Zelensky here on this U.S. naturalization document.
You can see this man's picture here on the paper.
He also then published a YouTube video anonymously backing up these claims. Listen.
I work at the United States Secret Service, Office of Protective Operations.
He's like playing the whole little thing. But yeah, basically, it was debunked, of course. I didn't even know about it. I learned about it when it was debunked. Like, how funny is it? Come on. There was a source and he's apparently a whistleblower. Like, you could say any shit you want at this point. You could call yourself a whistleblower, send a badly photoshopped document, and they're gonna publish it. They're just gonna read from it. They won't even do a fact check. They're gonna be like, guys, unconfirmed sources. I'm very worried about my husband. No, you're not, bitch. No, you're not. You don't give a shit. Nah. I'm really worried about my husband. She goes, Lamau. Oh. Budapest. Damn, Navalny gone and we're seeing protests in Budapest. Okay. Alright. March to Moscow. There's lots of children in the crowd, so I don't think there will be much else than standing around. The only way to deal with Orban is to physically remove him from power and give power back to the people. Okay, understandable. Nice though, come on, that's kind of cool. Nah, they want, I don't even know they want, I guess they want to get rid of Orban, which, In the coming days, as international leaders are meeting in Munich, we must be clear that Putin will be met with united opposition. Putin is a vicious dictator, and the world knows he is likely directly responsible for the sudden death of his most prominent political opponent, Alexei Navalny. Putin has shown his willingness to use extreme measures, including the use of radioactive material, to attack his enemies and expand his power. Speaker Johnson? Am I thinking of the same man? Am I thinking of another Johnson? If confirmed. This action is emblematic of Putin's global pattern of silencing critics and eliminating opponents out of fear or dissent. This is the latest attempt to send a message to those working to confront Moscow's aggression. In the coming days, as international leaders are meeting in Munich, we must be clear that Putin will be met with united opposition. As Congress debates the best path forward to support Ukraine, the United States and our partners must be using every means available to cut off Putin's ability to fund his unprovoked war in Ukraine and aggression against the Baltic states. I mean, it's good that they are fearing it. Isn't it good that they are fearing it? But also, is someone going to ask? Like, if they does he know what he's talking about when he mentions aggression against the Baltic states? Are we talking about like political aggression to some sort? Yeah, I am thinking of the same Johnson. They're talking about the same Johnson, I guess. Yeah. Is it photoshopped? I don't know where to find him. Let's compare Johnsons to make sure. No, he's not really a person to say that Putin has to be met with how was it worded? United opposition. You know, he's not a person to say that. He's not the type of a man to say that. It just doesn't sound like him. So I don't know if I trust this. I don't really trust this text. I don't trust he said it. I want a source. I want a video of him saying it or some shit. I need a link to something. Hey yo. Fair. What are they listening to? Who knows the song? That is beautiful of the Orban regime, it will not. But, you know, Maybe Hungarians are better at protesting than Russians are. I don't even know how powerful the House Speaker is. I guess, would the President have the ability to push for some voting regardless if the House Speaker doesn't want it? Can he like override his power? And also, why not? Are they removing flowers? He almost fell down. The fine look and say Ukrainian. Oh damn. Police cordoned off the Gulag Memorial in Kazan. And they're now dispersing people from a makeshift Navalny memorial. Detained several people. Oh damn. Oh, someone threw snow at them. Oh shit, is this the famous Russian opposition? Oh? 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 Come on, they used to just be filming this shit. They used to be filming someone throwing snow. For Russians, that's like my dude. That's like million steps into a normal fucking civilization. It's gonna take them a few more years to, you know, start throwing something useful, but it's something. It's an improvement. Last time, you remember when you were watching it last time and they were like filming it? No one did shit. Come on. Oh yeah, it's gonna be over tomorrow, definitely. But some snow's gonna be thrown around. Oh, the cathedral looks Ukrainian. Ah, makes sense, makes sense. No, not the snowballs. Wait, President can override the House by vetoing any bills, but he can't force a vote in the House. Oh, so if they vote and he doesn't like it, he can stop that. He's like Orban. He's like Orban, basically. Okay, Kremlin? No. No. You're going too far. You're going way too far. Maybe if there's like a Russian embassy building somewhere and there's like a fence outside of it, maybe on like the path in front of the fence they're gonna throw some snowballs, but like that's that. They're not gonna throw it in the actual building. That's not what they do. Next day after that, protesters took literal bulldozer and started moving to police lines. See, that's based. That's based. It's like the Serbian bulldozer revolution. That's based. That's what we should be doing. Not, you know, stand. I mean, okay, they stand for now. It's Hungarians. They're not used to protesting in the last few years. They're learning. They're doing little speeches. They're doing little talks. I don't understand him, but he's doing a little speech. So he's trying. Enormous amount of protesters gathering. Okay, tens of thousands of Hungarians hit the streets of Budapest. To be fair, there's a problem. There's a problem that Orban's way of getting the votes for his party already has been targeting mostly people in rural areas. It's not really it's not really a way for it's not really a way to chase him out when people in villages still support him. You got like all the Budapest people right here in the circle, and you're still gonna have a lot of people from like very poor, very shitty areas who are willing to vote for the man when he goes to elections. So unless they do something really violent, even if he does call for elections again, it's not really gonna work. Ukraine is getting far-range rockets to bomb Kremlin. Children will be faster than revolution. To be fair, we should not be supporting any sort of a hit on civilians in this space. But yeah, Ukrainians do deserve better rockets. We need to give them better rockets. Only House representatives have power to force a vote with petition discharge, which itself requires a vote. But House Speaker is completely excluded from this process. Oh. Bringing a bill out of committee into the floor. Hey, yeah, Dionysus, how's life? Hey. How's life? How's the news? Have you been following the situation ongoing in Hungary? Look at our Hungarian brothers. Look at our Hungarian brothers. I like my Hungarian brothers. Okay, also 69. Nice and nice. Hungarians are currently protesting against Fidesz. So come on, be proud of them. Be proud of them. Say thank you, Hungarians. Apparently, there's quite a lot of people. So we still don't know how it's going fully because it's starting. But hey. I was kind of hyped for this. Their president has recently resigned because she has given a pardon to a man who has pressured children, victims of sexual assault, into not coming and reporting people who have sexually assaulted them. So the president of Hungary has resigned, and the president was also from Fidesz party, and then another politician from the Fidesz party also resigned for the same reason. So basically what we're looking at now is Hungarians being quite pissed off with the party overall, which is a good thing for us because Fidesz, Orban, but also Fidesz, has been sabotaging European Union for a very long time. Berkut was with sticks, molotovs, catapults, shooting stone, burning tires so they cannot shoot easily, hitting with metal chains. Yeah, stuff like that. It's incredible bravery, isn't it? It's incredible, immense bravery to do something like that. But also, you know, for some people, listen, for some people, you make a catapult, you put a stone on it, you shoot the stone over to the state police trying to arrest you, right? And you see that as a means of getting a revolution. For some other people, there's police arresting your people. You're like, oh shit, what do? You make a snowball, you chunk it at the police. It's like, it's the similar meaning between these. They're not equally as effective, but you understand what they wanted to do with the snowball, right? You understand what the snowball was supposed to do. What's a trebuchet? Trebuchet. What's the difference between this and a catapult? Both convert stored energy to movement energy. In catapults, energy is stored via elasticity. In trebuchets, it's stored by working against the ever-pervasive force of gravity? Yeah, I don't understand that. Oh, come on. I don't want to write an essay right now. I want to see. Show me how to build one so I can show it to the Russians. Why isn't trebuchet is not a tank, catapult is Russian tank? Oh, so okay, so then I know exactly which one is better. Thank you. That answers my question really, really clearly. I am very, very grateful. Thank you very much. This is incredibly blurry. All right. France, Greece, United Kingdom, Ukraine. Yeah, hey yo, who the fuck made the first meme with like Ukraine like this? Oh, hey yo, come on. Ukrainians were badass on this. I remember Anastasia having a conversation with Destiny one time when she like called in and she was talking about how protesting on Maidan was like, my man, that's badass, incredibly badass. You wouldn't even imagine like how real it all was. It's just incredible, genuinely incredible. You fought it out. And then, you know, the Russians come and fuck it up. But before that, you fought it out. Wait, what did I want to click on? I wanted to click on something and I forgotten what. Discharge petition was one of it and I forgot that. Hey, your Defiance, thank you for the sub. Thank you. How are you doing? My post Stacy Le is not loading. This one did though. When did I have it last time? 2015. They forced a vote on a bill to reauthorize the Export-Import Bank of the United States. I don't care too much about that. I don't know too much about that and I don't really care about it. So that's a bit. Oh, scaling back gun control. Gun control legislation that made it easier for gun shows to operate without government interference. Senate passed it. House Judiciary Chair declared it dead on arrival. And then there was a strong campaign to pass the bill in the House via discharge petition. Discharge petition succeeded and the Senate version was passed after minor amendments were added. Oh. Why would you scale it back? Needs much time to build and material. They had primitive things because they had bug walls to defend. But yeah, understandable. Like you need something simpler. You're gonna have some rocks added to the game as weapons. You're gonna throw them yourselves. You can't really build something to be chunking these rocks out. Just throw it yourself. Just like come on, how hard can it be? How hard can it be? I don't know how hard it is. I've never built something like that. I did used to be building. I was really, really good at building. Do you want to watch Putin? Oh, I want to show you something. But I knew how to be building those little bow and arrows from like wood. Used to be really good from that. Like the ones you can. That was really, really cool. If we ever start a revolution, I'm building that.
Has been the most important military alliance in the world. It's been the cornerstone of America's security. It's how we won the Cold War and defeated the Soviet Union. The only time NATO has invoked the sacred commitment of Article 5 was to stand with America after 9/11. Every president since Truman has been a rock-solid supporter of NATO, except for Donald Trump. Trump wants to walk away from NATO. He's even given Putin and Russia the green light to attack America's allies.
Except for Donald Trump.
I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
No president has ever said anything like it. It's shameful. It's weak. It's dangerous. It's un-American. Joe Biden understands the commitment we have made to NATO is good for America and the world, and he will honor it. Because that's what a strong American president does. For 75 years, NATO has been the most important military alliance in the world.
What a cool little video. I love USA and their little political advertisements. I love them. They're so fun. What is that? Here's something on baby trebuchet. We'll use it a couple of times. PM me for a quote. This is not a baby trebuchet. How do you even pronounce that fucking thing? It's a baby catapult. Because it doesn't have a counterweight. That... Look, here's the problem. I understand... I don't actually. I don't understand why the counterweight system is more efficient than the elasticity based one. I don't understand why the counterweight one is more efficient. I don't really see it. Imagine not knowing the difference. Listen. Okay, I'm a person with life. Alright? I'm a person who's... I got friends. I got a social life. Trebuchet. Trebuchet? Do we say it like trebuchet? Oh, trebuchet. We say trebuchet. Okay, so trebuchet was a good one. Nice. That was good. But yeah, listen, guys, I have a life, okay? I've got friends. I can't be online looking at the difference between a trebuchet and a goddamn catapult. A trebuchet. Say it like your French. Oh, oui. Big thing, kaboom. Oh no. Go to Paris. Ballast from which to? I know nothing. I know nothing. I know none of these words. What is that? Cruel. Cruel. We could get it, but like cruel. I don't know how hard it. Listen, people have built this before when they had way less ability to create complex stuff. You know what I mean? Like if I got all the machinery right now and bullshit, why am I not able to make this one really easily and then bring it to my protest? Aren't we having protests in Croatia now? DB, why aren't you taking photographs of the protests? Are there protests? There's supposed to be a protest. Oh, pro-Palestine protest. When was this? Oh, 2020. Who cares? That was a long while ago. Oh, we had some Polish activists protesting here. Poles. This one. This one. This one. This one. The leftists are protesting against our very corrupt government. Where's English? Representatives of the left liberal part of the opposition pointed out on Thursday that the protest announced was Saturday on the Markova Square. Markova Square is not a pre-election rally ahead of the parliamentary elections, but a way for citizens to express their dissatisfaction with the policies of the ruling HDZ, which needs to be told enough. Saturday's protest is not a test for the future. Otherwise, SDP would have organized it alone together with its partners. But it did. What do you mean? Oh, the protest is not... Yeah, it's not a test for the future. Otherwise, we would be the ones organizing it. So, let's compare that to the situation where we are the ones organizing it. What do you mean? What do you mean? Clean shirt man. Clean shirt man. Oh, these two.
They have to stick it all together with nothing but their all-time favorite material.
All right, I like this.
But first, Adam puts the tape aside to work out how one works.
All right, I think we have enough built now to talk about the component pieces of a trebuchet and how they work. Graphics, can you help me out?
Arbalest?
The main parts are the stand, the swing arm, and the fulcrum the swing arm pivots on. Now, the swing arm has a weight at one end and a sling at the other. And here are some important relationships. There's a relationship between the long part of the swing arm and the short part. That's 3.75 to 1. And the sling wants to be exactly the length of the long part of the swing arm. If you get all that right, apparently this thing throws farther than just about any other
Oh, that makes sense.
The real long shot will be getting a full-size trebuchet.
Oh, I thought it was that
with
the
only duct tape to hold it together.
So the weight here is the sole of the trebuchet.
Oh, that
The
makes
gravitational pull of
sense.
this weight down causes the whole mechanism to work.
In the toughest duct tape task the team has ever tackled, that counterweight will eventually weigh 750 pounds and exert more than 3,000 foot-pounds of torque.
That's a fully loaded trebuchet right there. Let's see what happens. I flung it into the ground. That's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. I love making these demonstration models.
Okay, but how do you make it fly?
Clearly, somewhere in the middle is my goal. It's often some of the most fun that I have on the show. I think I made too much of a cup. There is nothing better than being able to lay your hands on
Bro,
something.
how do you think they were testing this? I just like had one on the field.
Why didn't it let go?
Evacuated everything.
Slightly bigger nut?
Everywhere.
Much bigger nut.
After several hours of hands-on tinkering, Adam has the mechanics nailed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And successfully launches his model.
He managed?
Wow.
He managed. Nadezhdin, he could fill that vacuum. Oh, that seems very, very reasonable. Yes. With one voteless opposition leader gone now, they're going to introduce a new voteless opposition leader who is also going to be, surrounded by a voteless team that's not going to be doing anything. Once Nadezhdin gets into prison, his family is probably still going to go and trend hashtags on Twitter. Very likely. Putin does need someone, as much as he doesn't like his people getting too political, he does need someone to be, pretending to be opposition still. So the libs of Russia wouldn't be wanting to do shit. They would think shit is being done in their name when it isn't. I just think we gotta keep an eye on him in the way that I think we gotta keep track of and note down every single time he says anything that proves he is not a man actually opposing Russian imperialism. Because in a few goddamn years, you're gonna have Europeans going, Russia has a new president now. Let's buy their oil and gas again. And then we gotta be prepared. We gotta be prepared to be like, no, they're the same as they used to be. What was the Biden link? Also, I want to see the trebuchet car. Oh, they have already faced devastating consequences. Oh, that's even worse. But yeah, that was basically the thing, right? That was basically the thing. And then the whole, how did he say it? We're looking at a variety of options. I'm so salty over that variety of options. It's saying nothing. It's basically just saying nothing. You're just like that. Oh, we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Nice. How's this different from everything you've done so far? Wait, I saw that. My man's giving me news I was already depressed about. Horrible and cruel. Also, for some reason, I feel like lots of Twitter isn't working for me, which makes no sense. But lots of Twitter, for some reason, is not working for me. I don't know if it's a whole day issue. I don't know if it's an ongoing problem. It's just nothing works. Wait, let me quickly... Yeah, see? Oh, this doesn't work either. I think it's just my Twitter. Is my Twitter broken? Do we think something happened to the entire site? So many Russians going to protest. They kicked down Twitter. Virus and threat protection, great. Don't expect any serious penalties on Russia for killing Navalny, but you wouldn't expect the president to make a decision in 2 hours. Yeah, that too. Valid point. I don't want him to make a decision quickly, though. I don't want him to make a decision quickly. I understand, though, that, like, making it so swiftly would be a bit weird. That's understandable. It's just, I don't know. I wish he had something prepared. Like, did we not see this coming? When he said they're going to face devastating consequences, did he not have anything in plan or what it's going to happen? Did we just like have no set line of action ready? Because that's kind of concerning to me. I saw I would have Arthur. Arthur is supposed to be making a new video.
Hello, beautiful community.
Also, don't know if you saw this, but I don't know if I want to watch the whole video. Let me see. But Putin has said that he would like Biden to be the president more than he would like Trump. Mostly because he thinks Biden is more predictable, while, Trump is Trump. But he is willing to work with any USA president that comes into power, really. Wait, is that on that? Oi! Oh, Zaya! Okay, I love this one. I love this one so much. Okay.
Design here, coming to you from a very foggy Colorado. It is the 16th of February, and the news today is that Russian prison authorities have announced the death of Alexei Navalny, who was a political prisoner who had the audacity to... Have announced the death of Alexei Navalny, who was a political prisoner who had the audacity to criticize Vladimir Putin and run for office long ago, years ago, and has been in prison ever since.
Spit on his name.
He was transferred about a year ago to a high-security prison in the middle of nowhere in Siberia. It was an old Soviet gulag. This is basically where the Russian government sends people when they want them to die because it's cold, it's brutal, there's no heat, and...
okay, listen. I'm very surprised Girkin is still alive. I'm more surprised... I'm not surprised Navalny got killed. I'm surprised Girkin didn't. Why is he alive? He had a whole thing with like angry patriots that were angry at Putin specifically because Putin is shit at his war. Why is Girkin alive? What happened? I'm not even sure. He's not even like a person that I feel... Okay, wait, maybe. Maybe. He is supposed to collect the side of opposition that is like more violent, correct? He's supposed to be opposition for people who are more patriotic in a way. I guess Prigozhin used to be that, but then Prigozhin got exploded, so now they really only have Girkin. Still useful to stem more hatred? Yeah, I guess. It was mainly Prigozhin's role, wasn't it? Then they exploded Prigozhin, and then they were like, damn, now all of this opposition to Putin specifically has nowhere to go. What if they run around and create actual opposition? We gotta have something controlled for them to, you know, focus on. So I guess Girkin is good for that. It is weird that he's here, though. Putin made that statement just for Republicans. To say Trump is great, vote for Trump. Oh, yeah, the whole thing. It was an interesting statement, though. It was very... almost 5D chess out of him. I was surprised by that. But also in the whole interview, he's like very dismissive of America, I want to say overall. So I have no idea who he was talking to.
The whole service is deliberately denied. So the idea that he's dead is not exactly a shock. The Russian government very well could have actually executed him and no one would know. Now, back in 2021, the Biden administration said the death of Navalny would trigger a collapse in international relations that would really punish the Russians. But since then, the Russians have launched a war and killed a couple 100,000 people in Ukraine. So pretty much all of the stops that could be pulled out have been pulled out. And about the only way to punish the Russians now would be to send a lot more weapons to Ukraine or to do an outright block of all of their energy exports, neither of which on the moment, for a mix of political and economic reasons, are on deck. So I don't want to say anything weird like, you know, the Russians are going to get away with this because there's a lot going on. But don't expect any sort of tactical response from the Americans
I do want to say it.
Or the West.
I feel they're going to get away.
Before anyone gets to crying about this, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, Russia's not a democracy. It hasn't really been a democracy in over 20 years. So even if Navalny was allowed to continue to be part of the political conversation in Russia, it's not like he has any chance of changing policy. He was more of a personal annoyance to Putin and nothing more. There are other people within the ruling party who have decided to run for presidency against Putin on a very nationalist ticket, but just be opposed to the war, and they're not being allowed to participate either. So it really doesn't matter. It's something that pro-democracy activists in the West get really excited about because he's a name that more people know, but he was never going to have any influence. Second, careful what you wish for. Navalny may have been a nicer guy than Putin, because, you know, low bar, but he was just as nationalist, and his biggest criticism of the Ukraine war wasn't that it was happening, but it just wasn't being prosecuted very well.
Okay.
People forget that the strong predilection among Russians is to continue the war. They just don't want to be part of it personally. The idea that Russia needs to expand its borders in order to survive is not one that is particularly debated in Russia. It's generally been their security policy for 400 years, that as long as your external borders are flat and open, you're not safe. So you have to go through Ukraine to get to Romania and Poland and the rest. Now, of course, that's bad for Romania and Poland and the rest, but the Russians are not misreading the map. And unfortunately, that gets wrapped up in the political discussion so that folks like Navalny appear more important than they really are. So, I mean, I feel bad for the guy and his family, but we were probably always going to get here.
Yeah, see that. Nice though. I'm very happy that he acknowledges Navalny wasn't really better than Putin. I'm happy he acknowledges that, like, you shouldn't place too much trust in the man. I thought that was surprising. Always surprising. Look at the trash that I get recommended. Holy shit. But yeah, surprising. Genuinely. You don't really see it often mentioned by people making these types of videos. I've seen so many comments today. I've seen so many news comments. I saw some Americans say that she has been crying as soon as she read the news, and I was like, what? Babe, what? Oh, I've been praying for the man every night. Why? For Navalny? Are you okay? Like, it feels like they made him into like a Jesus figure almost. I'm not really comfortable with the whole little idea of him being praised so much. It's genuinely weird. It's like we've created a stronger cult of personality of Navalny than the Russians have created. And they already had some sort of like, oh yeah, Navalny's gonna, create a better Russia because he's a true patriot and not like patriots that Putin has brought around. And then we fall for it too. That's weird. Hey yo, look at this. Hey yo, Rimus, how are you doing? Hey! Oban pedophiles Hungarians. Alright. Nice. Unbelievable how many people... Well, how many did show up? Do we have the numbers? Ukrainian community today achieved monthly norm of memes. Oh, true. Oh, true. Wait, is my Twitter working properly? I wanted to go here. I wanted to see my news. But very, very happy to see that people are responding properly. Hey, Kopiansu though. I still haven't given, by the way, my Twitch paycheck. I forgot yesterday to give it. I don't have $6,000. Yeah, oh, what serious consequences are they going to follow? They're already suffering serious consequences because they're getting killed. My dude, no. No. It is kind of heartbreaking to watch it, happen the way it's happening. Gonna give you a link to this one just in case someone has like some extra money around, okay? But I'm kind of sad that I don't know. I didn't expect a strong response. I just didn't really expect them to be that useless either, though. It's almost surprising. It's almost impressive how useless they are. Tens of thousands, he's saying. 1 hour ago it was tens. And now this one says, oh no, Warsaw. Oh, Warsaw. 200 people gathering in front of the Russian embassy for a rally. Oh. Well, more than we expected, I guess. More than I expected. I don't know if it's more than you expected. It is way more than I saw coming. My translations are horrible. My translations are horrible. Just illegal. Third Assault Brigade. Oh, people sent to Avdiivka. Inside the plant, the military takes cover for constant enemy fire and medics stabilize the wounded. Man. Oh man, I really hope they're going to be able to pull out soon.
Ну, блін, ну спортили мені, ну. Вони ввійшли в положення, вони знають, що у нас тут більшість
I need to find translations. They're not giving me proper translations. I'm just hoping it's... Yeah, it's not an alright situation. I'm hoping they're relatively safe though. Wait, no, I lost where I was. I lost where I was? I lost my position? Look how many shits I have opened. Okay, nice. Oh, Federal Penitentiary Service has announced the death of Alexei. When was this? Just a while ago? Oh. It remains crucial to await confirmation from his legal team and his family. Oh. Oh, wait, this is interesting. What? There seems to be any advocates for him within the system. Okay. Girkin, you want to go for a walk? Nah, I'm good. I maintain Putin did not fear Navalny. Okay. Despite some opposing views, Putin's disdainful perception of Navalny as a minor criminal unworthy of respect and as an adversary manipulated by the West to undermine national and state interests dictated a merciless systemic response, which programmed the tragic end. Putin admitted cruel conditions could be fatal for Navalny and dismissed it as a problem, but Putin will have to deal with the consequences of Navalny's death. And I see he didn't fear him. Putin does fear external interference. He sincerely believes that the West would and will use the moment to undermine the stability and to afflict political damage to his campaign. Oh wait, someone mentioned, I wonder if Julia has something on this. Someone mentioned the Russians are already blaming NATO for this. Hey, Mike Johnson has a vatnik soup on him. Mike Johnson has a vatnik soup on him. Anglo-Saxons. Now I wonder if Julia has posted something, because I saw someone mentioning also that Zelensky was blamed. By Russians, of course. The point of German aid to Ukraine is not to help Ukraine win, but to rehabilitate Germany's shattered image and to keep the Russians at bay. If Ukraine loses, it won't matter that we were supporter number one. It will be the same as if we had done nothing at all. I understand that. My Twitter is not working again. I don't know why. Oh. Kinda weird it's crumbling. But also, it reminds me, Julia. Of one of Twitter workers bitching, was it today or yesterday? The dude was bitching that currently what they have to focus on Twitter is the fact that Elon Musk, whenever he tweets, he's not really getting a lot of views. So he is quite pissed off about that. Now we got this. Solovyov described Putin's comments about Biden and Trump as a large number of carefully placed info bombs and mines. But that's that. I still want to see. I want to see who they blame. I want to see how they talk about Navalny dying. I would love to see that. His death is a result of public support for Nadezhdin. I do kind of see that one. The one that like... oh, the nation was getting too political. The nation was getting too interested. Support of Nadezhdin made administration replace management to more hawkish one. Oh, that killed Navalny. Oh, shit. Could be that too. So, but that would mean Girkin is fucked. That would mean Girkin is already, drinking his tea. Because I assume Girkin is currently the biggest... I mean, they don't really have danger to the regime, right? But Girkin is currently I would say the main opposition figure that they have. If they're not gonna get rid of Nadezhdin. It's gonna be Girkin. if the management is more hawkish. If the management is more hawkish. He has no supporters? Yeah, maybe that too. I don't really know how well he was doing. I mean, but did Navalny have? If we're talking about danger to the regime, Navalny also had what? A family drinking champagne, I guess. Liberal opposition doesn't support Girkin. Yeah, but nationalistic one does, right? Or do we think they are more hawkish towards liberal opposition specifically, which would mean being more hawkish towards Nadezhdin right now? Because Girkin was... I always saw Girkin and Prigozhin as more of a nationalistic, popular opposition. In a way that... I feel these two were people that were getting the far-right Russians behind them. So Russians who still want to keep occupying Ukraine, plus also maybe want to use nukes. They just see Putin as being really, really weak for not allowing it. Suppressed heavily because administration is engaged heavily in immigration program. Oh wait, that's interesting. Rises ethnic tensions inside. Hey, I see the video on Russia killing its own nationalities. I kind of want to watch that. But I see that. It's like nationalistic opposition is inherently harmful to the cause, despite the fact that it is opposing Putin specifically. It's also dangerous because they're just opposing all other nationalities of Russia, and you cannot need them to send them over to die in Ukraine. Kadyrov's son basically torturing some Russian guy. Hey, what was with that? Oh, that man was interesting. Kadyrov overall, but yeah, understandable. I didn't really look into that a lot, to be honest. Do we have news on Kadyrov? Was there anything new happening with Kadyrov? A gift to Moscow? NYPD, what? Oh, this one. Kadyrov is lining up his children as successors. Oh yes, this one. Oh, yeah. Russian prisoner who had been transferred to Chechnya after being accused of burning a Quran. But like nothing happened. Is that a big story still in Russia? They kidnapped him and moved him to Chechnya for basically beating video that went online, and after which Kadyrov's son was awarded by multiple state awards. Look, I can support a man getting awards for beating up a Russian. I just have to say. I can. On one hand, it's Kadyrov's son, and his sons are kind of the same trash as their father is. On another hand, I can't blame them for giving the award. What is this? Dubai? Men were members of notorious Chechen Ahmad Kadyrov's special police regiment. They won one of the contests at the International SWAT Challenge Games. We do that? Hosted by Dubai police over the week. 87 SWAT teams for 48 countries are seen engaging in various mock tactical challenges. With fucking war criminals. A part of them? They gave $5,000 to war criminals. Fair. Nice, fair. What is this? Hey, Andrew. Oh, that's great. I'll probably be ending the stream by then. I'll probably be ending the stream by then, so I'll be able to watch. I'm kind of interested. Withdrawal? Is he hoping that they actually pull out? I haven't been using Twitter a lot. I don't know what he has been posting lately. I killed my first version in 16 and it turned into X, my first X in 16. I avoided my first son in 16. Ah! Oh, come on. Oh, come on. We're getting bullied today. We're getting bullied today, okay? This is Elon Musk, for some reason, throttling Twitter because he doesn't want Russians to be able to organize proper protests. You heard it here first. You heard it here first, fellas. Oh, this has nothing to do with Avdiivka. Russia is barely even using vehicles there. Bro! We'll talk about it more in today's scene. Russia pushed a large attack here. They let the lead tank drive up, and when it turned around to run away, they hit it and it completely exploded. Watching the video made me think how cool it would be to put javelin warheads on a FPV drone. Oh, come on. They need long-range air defense, preferably fighters with long-range air-to-air missiles. Like, for example, a meteor missile? All these dots are geolocated airstrikes from a single day worth of footage. It's 40 total. Today there were 40 airstrikes on the two towns adjacent to Avdiivka. You need fighters with the appropriate long-range radars and equipped with long-range missiles patrolling the skies to neutralize the air threat. The most reasonable planes with this capability are the Gripen with modern upgraded radars and equipped with meteor missiles, which we are not getting at all, so yes. Why is he like doing this as his job? I woke up today saying today will be the day I go to sleep before 2 a.m. and then there were 304 videos. Is he doing this? Does he have a job? Does my man do something else? Is my man having something extra? I hope he's alright. That doesn't seem healthy. That doesn't seem really smart. Yeah, I wanted to watch this though.
Russian ethnic minorities as expendable pawns in his war against Ukraine, and it's horrifying. In Siberia and other remote parts of Russia, funerals are way too common. Cemeteries are filled with soldiers, many of their graves freshly dug. Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, men from these areas, remote, poor, and home to many of the country's minority groups, have endured the heaviest burden of the war and died disproportionately. Where is this going? Will Russian ethnic minorities attempt to call for decolonization of Russia? Let's dive in. Russia is one of the world's largest countries by land area, with a total of 6,601,665, where the average
Osvojenie najväčší jackpot u Hrvatskoj. Sretan dobitnik iz okolice Siska. Bogatý
average monthly income is about $665. In Moscow, though, with a monthly income that averaged about $1,500, only slightly under 1% of eligible reservists were called to the colors. Krasnoyarsk Krai is a region in Siberia with a population of about 2.5 million people, according to the 2021 Russian census. About 90% of the population in the area is composed of ethnic Russians. But that's not true for all areas of Siberia or in other Russian territories where the military burden has been the heaviest, and that poses a problem for the Kremlin. Let's take a look at the history of Russia's relationships with many ethnic minority populations that span its vast territories.
How 600? What's the minimum? How 600? 600? 656 did he say or something? 656, yeah, average. What's their... Do they have minimum? You know, ours is 700 euros. Minimum. Brutto. No, netto. Netto. The one you get. How much cash money is actually on your account? Minimum wage pages. Your connection is not private. Just like give me the numbers. I don't want to be doing too many clicks. Don't want to be doing too many clicks. No one would blink an eye. I mean, true, yeah. Okay, we got commercial films, public service, but no, but this is average then. No, it's minimum? They have different minimum. Oh, in some regions. Okay, in some regions, But it's saying the same one. Oh no, it isn't. This one's stronger. This one's stronger. This one's... Oh, Moscow. Moscow 28. Alright, 23, 25. Ah, St. Petersburg. 20 commercial firms. What's this? No. 209 oh, 200. I could have just asked ChatGPT about this. Why am I doing all of this shit? I could have been like, hey, ChatGPT, what do you think? What do you think about this? What are these numbers? Switch them to euros. Serbia's getting a humongous monthly paycheck compared to Russia. Serbia, actually, I'm impressed Serbian is that high. Was that in euros? Oh, that's a lot. I thought they are getting a bit less. I clicked on the wrong ones. 550 euros. Nice. $64.33. What gross? What's that? What's that? What does that mean? But nice. Damn, impressive. Genuinely impressive.
Populations that span its
I thought they
vast
were way
territories.
less.
What does this history and the relationships between the outer areas and the Russian heartland mean for the war in Ukraine and the future of Russia? For Siberia, the disproportionate military burden stretches far further east than Krasnoyarsk Krai, and it's here where the ethnic tensions
He
mount the
pronounces
most.
it
One
rather well
example
too.
would be the Republic of Buryatia in the Russian Far East. In the declining days of 2022, military recruiters turned a dozen schools
Is that how
in
you say it?
Ulan-Ude, the republic's
Buryat-
capital,
Sure.
into conscription centers. Unlike Krasnoyarsk Krai, about 30% of the people in this area come from the ethnic minority Buryats, a Mongolic group. The situation in Buryatia was significant enough that the president of Mongolia, Ukhnagin Kurulshuk, offered shelter for the Buryats, Tuvans, and Kalmyks in Russia who wanted to avoid conscription. Kurulshuk accused the Russian military
May I
of
wanna see
using
the
these
joke?
people as nothing more than cannon fodder.
True. I don't know what this is saying. Is this saying like Russian hero or some shit? Here's a Russian hero? Man, I'm bad at reading this. I'm bad at Cyrillics. I need that thing where like it automatically goes bzz. It is. I knew it. I'm so good at reading Cyrillics actually. I'm a fucking master.
Other ethnic groups have also been disproportionately targeted for conscription. The Republic of Sakha, informally known as Yakutia, is a region in Siberia with a large
Is that
ethnic
how you
minority
actually
population.
say it?
About
I mean, I don't really care about saying it correctly.
55% of the people in this area are Yakuts, also known as Sakha, a Turkic ethnic group. In October 2022, local media announced that 4,500 recruits were expected to come from this region. The total population in Yakutia, according to the 2021 Russian census, was about 995,000 people. Pressures have also been high in the Republic of Dagestan in the Caucasus, which is a majority-minority area comprised primarily of Avars, Dargins, Kumyks, and Lezgins.
Okay, fair.
When they came in the declining days...
They already butchered several languages, didn't they? They butchered English! They butchered English! Okay, you know when people like compare American and British English? Here's a secret they never tell you. American one is proper, the British one is fucked up.
Days of 2022,
they're just
Russian
adding letters around to be fancy.
Were met with a frosty reception. One video that spread on social media saw local men arguing with a woman from the government. The woman claimed that the area's men should be fighting for their children's future, but one of the locals replied, "We don't even have a present. What future are you talking about?" Because of the disproportionate share in Russia's armies, ethnic minorities from poorer areas have suffered disproportionate casualties in the war. In a study using Russian figures, the BBC found that of 6,000 soldiers confirmed to be killed in action in Ukraine by September 2022, troops from Dagestan, Buryatia, and Krasnodar, the largest city in Krasnodar Krai in the northern Caucasus, suffered the greatest share, with over 200 deaths from each of these areas.
Didn't we confirm a lot more? Didn't we identify and confirm a lot more losses? Where did I see that? Who did I see? Ho 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 ho. Who did I see? Who did I see post recently about it? But I was just like, yeah, Lamo. I didn't read it. But someone recently posted a confirmation of data on confirmed casualties. I wonder then if they have like new stats on which regions of Russia these casualties were from, because it would be really interesting to see how the statistics have developed over time.
In contrast, only 15 of those 6,000 deaths came from the Moscow area, as conscripted soldiers have often been sent into the worst enemy fire in battles such as Bakhmut and now Avdiivka, often without body armor or proper equipment. We can be sure that many more ethnic minorities from Russia's poorer regions have suffered and died disproportionately in the months since. Units from Russia's Eastern Military District, which comprises Buryatia and large parts of Siberia, have seen disproportionate action as well, even before the wave of mobilization. They took a leading part in the Battle of Kiev, for example, where Russia's attack stalled and was then thrown back with significant casualties. Russia's ethnic minorities from Siberia and elsewhere have been treated poorly, even when they...
No, gotta be something weird and kinky. Go away, go away, go away, go away.
They do not become casualties. Hazing is common in the Russian military, and these more vulnerable troops are easy targets. Regular army troops have often been accused of stealing valuable equipment and belongings of the conscripts, such as body armor, further inflating
Yeah, we've seen this. I don't want to watch
When the
that.
Russian Empire began to expand east of the Ural Mountains and into Siberia, then the same Russian authorities would offer to protect the tribes from such raids in exchange for valuable commodities, like the thick furs from the fauna of the Siberian wilderness, which they could sell for a fortune in Europe. It was a cynical ploy that allowed for greater incorporation of Siberia into the Russian political structure. The Russian army built a series of forts along the way, supposedly to protect the trade routes. The end result was that the Siberian tribes enriched the Russian Empire that oppressed them on the backs of their own labor in extracting the furs and other resources. Meanwhile, Russia took advantage of the divided nature of Siberia and used the tribes to fight each other to secure its interests. This not only enhanced Russia's rule over Siberia, but it ensured that the tribes would die so that ethnic Russians need not. Sound familiar? To ensure that the tribes would be fighting one another, Russia used its agents to spread divisive propaganda, playing them off against each other. Sound familiar?
However, it actually reminds me, yesterday was February 15th, and then yesterday It was 125 years ever since the Russian Tsar has signed the declaration, the February Manifesto, which was the start of basically Russian oppression of the Finnish people and the start of forced Russification of Finnish people. And when you read about it, the February Manifesto, February, there were at the times some Finns who were okay with it. Not a lot of them though, not nearly a lot of them, but there were some of them which were okay with the idea, mostly because they genuinely thought that Russians are going to improve their living situation. So it was like, it wasn't really a strong fight between different Finns, because there wasn't really many of them who believed that this was a good idea at all. But on a small scale, they did manage to create conflict. Yeah, a small number of Finns, a small number, thought the February Manifesto was a good thing and refused to sign the Great Petition. This is the Great Petition, by the way. Look at it. These were mostly stateless tenants who believed the baseless rumors, spread by so-called bag Russians, traveling salesmen, about a land reform caused by the Russian law. There has been frequent suspicion that some Russian body would have organized spreading rumors serving Russification through these bag Russians, but this could not be proven, of course. Some stateless tenants and working-class people also thought defending the Finnish constitution was useless, as it did not improve their own position. Now, of course, it didn't work, luckily, and Finns did keep fighting against Russians, but yeah.
Conquered the isolated, poor and ill-equipped Siberian people with ease, truly incorporating them into Russian society proved to be a task that was more trouble than it was worth. This was no empire along centralized lines like that seen in Europe, but rather more closely resembled a federal or confederal structure. The Siberian tribes were largely isolated from the centers of Russian political and civil society, and as such had little true connection to the empire. The result was that they maintained their languages and ethnic cultures. In a certain sense, this division was to Russia's advantage. Tribal divisions prevented the Siberian peoples from uniting against the authorities west of the Urals. To maintain this division, all of the roads that Russia built in the vast Siberian wilderness linked back to the heartland in Europe, rather than connecting the tribal villages with each other. This remains the case today. All of these factors amounted to Siberia essentially being Russia's version of an overseas colony. The only meaningful interaction of the tribes with the machinery of the Russian state was to bring their tributes to the trading posts.
What's that referring to?
The entire arrangement was designed to enrich a far-flung motherland at Siberia's expense. It was little different than the Western powers' colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The treatment of the ethnic minorities in other areas, especially in the Caucasus, mirrored the treatment of the Siberian tribes, but on a grander scale because of the more densely populated regions. Russia's expansion southward into the Caucasus and Central Asia saw many of the same policies it had used in Siberia. The non-ethnic Russians were treated brutally. For example, the Russian Tsar Alexander II is often seen in a positive light for ending serfdom within the empire.
Also, fun fact about this, he was seen as the liberator of the Finns. So when the February Manifesto was signed, this was 1899, when February Manifesto was signed, and the Finns were pissed off about it being signed, because of course they were, no one wanted to be under Russia. They were carrying flowers to his grave, because they saw it as like a good form of protest, because he was the grandmother of the current Tsar, Nikolai something? Second? Who the fuck is? But he was the grandfather of the current Tsar, so Finns were like, okay, yeah, we can just go and carry flowers to the grave of the previous Tsar, which is the one that we actually like and the one who was actually good to us, and they can't stop us because it's just us showing respect towards our Tsar, you know? They can't actually be stopping us. It's not like we are fighting against the government or whatever.
However, in 1864, his attempt to expel the Muslim Caucasians from the Caucasus region killed 600,000 people in what is today known as the Caucasian Genocide. Alexander considered this a necessity,
like the colonial
as these formerly
rule
Ottoman
of
territories,
European
which came into
nations
the
didn't
Russian
really
fold
completely
in the
go away.
1829 Treaty of Adrianople,
The influences
had
of it
proven
didn't
unwilling
go away,
to accept
maybe
the
it's smarter
authority
to
of the
say.
Tsars or convert from Islam to Russian Orthodox Christianity. Then there was Russia's policy in Crimea. Today, the illegally annexed territory is mostly comprised of ethnic Russians. It was not always so. When Russia first gained control over the peninsula in 1783, the Crimean Tatars, a Turkish Muslim ethnic group, made up 85% of the peninsula's population. Recognizing the strategic importance of the new territory, Catherine the Great decided to remake Crimea's population. She made generous land grants to the Russian nobility and encouraged Russian emigration to the area. The Tatars then gradually began to flee.
I assume they're referring to. We're gonna wait for them to answer. But I assume they're referring to how the video basically compared them to colonies. I remember like a part here somewhere. It compared that Russian occupation of the eastern regions wasn't really that much different from the way that the English and the French have occupied their own colonies. So like, if you take it for granted the idea that the English and the French have pulled out of their colonies, Russia still has theirs, right? Like Russia still has the eastern regions that it occupied at the time.
Those that didn't were in for much worse. After the Russian Empire lost the Crimean War in the 1850s, the Tatars became a convenient scapegoat. The Tatars were forced to abandon their language in favor of Russian. The cleansing of language was so complete that it even applied to road and street names, which were renamed in the Russian tongue.
Oh, of course.
In 1850, just before the Crimean War, about 275 Tatars lived in Crimea. A decade later, that number had been reduced to 194,000. The fall of the Russian Empire and the rise of the Soviet Union should have made the situation better for the country's ethnic minorities. After all, communism has inherently egalitarian principles within it. However, these are often not applied in practice, and the Soviet Union was no different. In Crimea, as many as 40,000 Tatars were caught in Stalin's purges. These people were sent to labor camps in Siberia. That was only the beginning of their suffering, however. Stalin accused the Tatars of siding with Germany in World War II. The result was another round of ethnic cleansing. Many were deported to then Soviet Uzbekistan. Up to half of them died on the journey. They were not allowed to return to Crimea until 1989. After the 2014 annexation, the Tatars were treated the same way, with the Russian government banning language classes and even traditional clothing. Today, though, there are 250,000 Tatars in Crimea, but they only make up about 12% of their historic homeland.
Hey. I really need to get the fancy YouTube.
Population.
I need to get
in
a fancy
Siberia,
YouTube, the premium
situation
one.
was much the same. The Soviet Union treated the Siberian tribes and villages as commodities, just as the old empire had, but in a more personal way. In the days of the empire, the authorities in Moscow were more interested in natural resources than people. That changed under the Soviet Union. In World War II, 20% of all people living in Siberia were drafted into the Red Army, placing a disproportionate share of the military burden on these communities. This set a precedent for what would come in the war in Ukraine. In other matters, the Siberian people were also worse off. Under the Russian Empire, the people of Siberia were largely left to their own devices, as long as they were isolated and could not challenge imperial rule, because this wilderness was not a center of major strategic importance like Crimea or Russia's border in Europe. However, communism has universalism inherent to its political ideology, and the new authorities in Moscow were not content to let Siberian tribes live as they always had. Instead, they adopted an approach similar to the one the earlier Russian Empire had taken in Crimea. The Russian authorities made efforts to suppress the native culture and identity. The nomadic tribes of Siberia were not allowed to remain nomads. Instead, they were forced into communist farming practices. Meanwhile, their children were forced into Soviet schools and encouraged to forget their native language in favor of Russian. The Soviet Union did bring an important change for the tribe's betterment, though. Unlike the empire, which left the tribes scattered and isolated, the Soviets created separate Siberian republics, each with their own laws, officially recognized languages, and other institutions of civic life. For example, the current Sakha Republic had its foundation in the early 1920s as a separate socialist republic within the Soviet Union. After the Soviet Union's collapse, this Yakut Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic was transformed into the current Sakha Republic under the auspices of the Russian Federation. This and other republics, with their ethnic minority populations, were granted significant privileges in the early days of post-Soviet Russia. However, Vladimir Putin's rise to power in 1999 heralded the return of Moscow's historical treatment of its ethnic minorities and outer territories. The destruction of Grozny in the 1999-2000 battle signaled the start of things to come under Putin's reign. After the revolt in Chechnya and carnage in its capital city, the new Russian president made moves to further centralize power. He believed that giving too much local powers to the independent republics within the Russian Federation was asking for trouble. To remedy this, the Kremlin formed the Cossack Commission in 2001. The commission, named for Putin's longtime confidant Dmitry Kozak, was designed to redefine the balance between Moscow and the separate republics and regions. In an interview in July 2000, about 6 months into his first term as president, Putin mentioned his goal for the commission. "I'm prepared to point to several facts, which prove that we live in a state far from the federal ideal. How could one otherwise explain that in some regions there are laws introducing certain rules for entering and staying in the region, or laws that forbid the export of goods to other regions? There have been cases when they have established a special status of the indigenous people in relation to other peoples living in the region. And this is not the Middle Ages. We must, as soon as possible, restore the balance and normal relations between different levels of government." In other words, Putin wanted to claw power back to Moscow, which was the only authority that could restore balance and take it away from Russia's outlying republics, polities, and ethnic groups. The Cossack Commission eventually centralized power in several ways. First, it reasserted the supremacy of federal law. Second, it gave the Russian federal government more ways to take special action against regional governmental bodies. For example, the president of the Russian Federation had the right to remove regional governors from office and dissolve regional parliaments.
Nice.
These measures were supposed to come only in special instances, such as when local government bodies made unconstitutional decisions, refused to go along with federal court rulings, or if regional expenditures exceeded their incomes by 30%. However, these procedures are vague enough that in practice, they give the president...
Yeah, that makes no sense. It's basically, how does he say it? If they go against federal decisions? Refuse to go along with federal court rulings, that one. Unconstitutional decisions, and then you put into the constitution that like all republics have to make decisions that will better the future of Russia, and there you have it. Whatever they do and you disagree with it, you're just like, this decision in the future is going to hurt us, so like... I'm dissolving your entire fucking parliament. Why can he do that?
Along with federal court rulings, or if regional expenditures exceeded their incomes by 30%. However, these procedures are vague enough that in practice, they give the president of the Russian Federation, Putin, a wide berth in potentially interfering in the affairs of the separate Russian republics and other jurisdictions. The Cossack Commission's recommendations were enacted into law on June 25, 2003, and since then, the power of the regional governments has declined sharply, while the power of the Russian presidency has risen. It has gotten to the point that the European Parliament officially considers Russia to be a unitary state rather than a federal one. In October 2015, the body released a document titled Russia's Constitutional Structure, Federal in Form, Unitary in Function. This document accuses Vladimir Putin of concentrating a growing amount of power in his hands while severely constraining the ability of regional governments to make their own
wasn't in the
policies,
follow list. It's because I'm being silenced by Elon Musk.
Enshrines regional autonomy.
It's also
The
why
European
my
Parliament's
Twitter
conclusion
doesn't
was
work
that,
today.
like the Soviet Union before it, Russia thus
Elon Musk
functions as a
personally
unitary state,
and the
despite
bald
its
dude
constitutional status
having
as a
Amazon
federation.
are trying
This
to
has
silence
proven to
me.
be the case in Ukraine. For the Kremlin, placing a
I am the most
disproportionate share
cancelled
of the
person in
burden
the
on
universe.
communities in Siberia
I don't know why.
and in other poorer regions
Twitch episode
serves
and buggy.
another political
Yeah,
purpose.
tried to like check out on
It's keeping
my
the cost
phone
of the war away from
to see if
Russia's
it's
more
working
affluent
properly
people,
because
who are concentrated in Russia's
it was
European
mentioned that there was
heartland
some
and in
chat
large
issues
cities
with
like
like
Moscow.
the
By doing
emotes,
so,
but
the
everything's
Kremlin has been
glitchy.
able to accomplish two objectives.
Everything's glitchy. He doesn't work
First,
properly
it can
at all.
maintain a large level of public support for the war. Russia's ethnic minorities from small villages in Siberia and elsewhere have far less influence. So
It was
as
in
long
my
as the
follow list
centers
from
of
the
Russian
start today.
power do not have to pay the costs of the war too heavily,
Yeah, but Paul said he
it's
doesn't
easy for
have the
them.
smiley face at all.
Secondly, the
I do
Kremlin
have
has
it.
been able to cover up the full
I
extent of
have
the
it.
war's
Like I can send
costs.
shit.
By spreading
But
casualties
it's
over
very
a much
buggy for
broader
me.
area and among relatively isolated populations, the Kremlin can mask the
I
war's
don't know when I
impact
last
on Russia's
updated the
people.
app. Wait, I
No
have to
one
watch the
bats an
video.
eye if there are dead bodies returning to isolated villages that often don't even communicate with each other. In contrast, if thousands of people were returning with wounds or in caskets to a place like Moscow, the war's costs would be much more visible and among a more influential part of the country's population. However, the Kremlin's strategy of isolating the war's costs to the fringes of Russian society might be starting to fray. Because of the authoritarian nature of Putin's regime, it's impossible to accurately gauge the true level of public support for the war in the Russian heartland.
Wait, how's my Twitch
evidence
working?
Suggests it's declining.
Bullshit. Mine's working properly, I think, but it was a long time since I used it properly. I'm mostly just like,
I forgot to move the light.
Leave me alone. Nah, I didn't want to do that.
The pictures and whatever.
Mine usually works properly, but I just kind of like scroll down and then click on whatever. Any news? We got Navalny. Who really isn't doing that well. We got him. We had Hungarians protesting. We had Russians attempting to stage a revolution, again connected to Navalny, because what basically happened is the police arrested a few of them, captured a few of them. I don't know if it was like proper arrest or if they just tried to move them away from the place of protesting. But another Russian threw a snowball at them, which was very Russian. It was very Russian. It was a very brave Russian move, actually, though. They threw a snowball at him. They threw a snowball. There was police. There was police capturing Russians, and another Russian came there and threw a snowball at the police officer. You know how often Russians do that? Never. Russians never do that. They usually film it. They go like to the back and they film it. And they're like, hee, I'm gonna upload this to Twitter to show to people how brave we are for protesting. They never do shit like that. Someone threw a snowball. That was like a huge thing. And then also Hungary is having relatively big protests. Don't know how they're working right now. Oh, well, quite good. Quite good apparently. Hey, yeah, happy sandwich day. They're doing well. They're doing better than I would have expected from Hungarians, to be honest. Now, again, these are city Hungarians. City Hungarians are not the main voters for Orban in the first place. Main voters for Orban are village Hungarians. And until we see those protests, he's going to keep on having his power, you know. Village Hungarians don't really care about Orban's party supporting pedophilia. They care more about Orban promising to give them lots of cash and to fight global homo and wokeism. Dude finally did something to Russia. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he didn't do something to us overall, as in like forcing European leaders to talk about this. I'm saying he is not doing well on, you know, on his own as a person, as a being. Lots of Ukrainian losses. Yeah, Avdiivka is very, very serious. So hoping for a evacuation to happen soon. Unfortunately, the news we're getting at the moment are, of course, it's very breaking news type of a thing. So I kind of prefer waiting a little bit before covering them outright. Because, you know, you never know. Wait, give me a second. Yeah. Sorry, my brother contacted me. He's coming here for his holidays. But yeah, we're kind of having to wait and see. I'm really scared Syrski is going to make the same mistake. Oh no. All right. Where's that one? I saw, you know what was the first one I've seen? That one. Trifecta through. My man's feeling so scared right now. If he were free, if he were a free man today, he would be doing a live stream where he would be sitting there and just like looking at you You know his depressor live streams that he used to be doing when Ukraine was doing a counteroffensive? Do you remember that? Oh, the nostalgia. He would just like be there like, well, Putin did nothing. Putin did nothing and this is so bad. He could have done a lot of things, but he didn't do any of the things. I mean, took only to die for Mr. Sandwich to prove the point. We have 40 million people who give zero fucks of being fucking slaves. Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. But look, I don't even think it's such a damn stupid thing, but I don't even think many people have accepted the fact that like Russians are not going to protest, because I'm still seeing people being like, oh, are Russians going to start a revolution right now? And it's like, no, but it's gonna take at least 2 to 3 days for people to stop being deluded about this shit. They're not gonna start a fucking revolution. They forgot about him already. Celebrating and dressing when he was jailed. That's because look, I have a conspiracy. And it's very similar to my conspiracy about Girkin. You know how his wife is always like, I miss my husband so much. My husband is in prison and I'm so sad about him. What if something happens to him? I genuinely think they don't give a single shit. I genuinely think they don't give a single crap about this, alright? When you saw Navalny's wife and what she was doing, she was like trending hashtags around. She collected a bunch of cash money and then shown a hashtag on a building in USA. She wasn't doing shit. Her speech that she gave now when he was killed, her speech she gave was like the strongest speech you could hear this woman give. She wasn't doing shit. She genuinely wasn't doing anything before to this. Even Navalny himself, it makes me wonder how... What was the plan? What was the plan? You know, like, what were you planning to do? How were you planning to get out of this alive? Because we're talking about a man who said that we shouldn't be sending military aid to Ukraine. Instead of sending military aid to Ukraine, we should be giving money for marketing to his organization. Because he's like, oh, you send money to Ukraine, you send ammunition to Ukraine, you can blow up a few Russians, but you give money to me so I can advertise my organization to expose corruption, and I'm going to teach a lot of Russians about how corrupt Putin is. He genuinely thought that was a good deal. I don't really think he had a plan on how to get out of this. If you want to talk about, creating an actual plan on how to defeat a goddamn dictator, surely you would be GG with supporting the military that is actually fighting against him? Why wasn't he doing that? That was such a weird little thing. What does that say? Did Alexei die or something? I don't understand politics. But yeah, overall, I don't really think either of their wives care about this. I don't think either of their wives are too invested in this. I think they're existing. I need, gimme. Translate to me. Is this... I don't understand what this word is. I don't understand what this word is, but it says lunchbox. And because it's referring to him, is it like going to be some sort of a joke of like, how would you call his casket or some shit? Because that's the energy it gives to me.
Adams is quarterbacking this project and she's looking pretty tough.
That's the coffin? It is. Ah, see, I got the joke. I got the joke. I'm like, good. Wait, do we have English? I got the joke. I'm good at understanding translations. How is called coffin of Navalny? Ah, I got it. Ah, you didn't want to post it for me. Well, I'm sorry. I apologize for clicking on links in my own chat. I am very, very apologetic over this. Why are you streaming at a normal time for me? What do you mean? Oh, I'm always streaming at this time. I'm supposed to end 34 minutes ago. And then I always continue streaming to this time. Like every single time I continue streaming, and then I stream, because this is around the time when I tell you, guys, I have to end the stream in 5 minutes, because I actually do have to end the stream in minus 45 minutes, because I was supposed to be going at 8. And then I'm like, yes, I'm gonna leave, and then you're like, yeah, Vicky, go and leave, and then you send me good links. Like you actually start sending me good links then. You send me chaos links previously, and then you send me good links when I'm supposed to be leaving. It's always like that. Oh, wait. Gotta do some quick typing. Oh, you must be neutral. I am very polite. I'm very, very nice and very, very polite. And I'm always polite. And I don't know why people sometimes hear me being very polite. And then they're like, wow, why is Vicky polite? I'm always polite. Might as well stay for another hour. See, that's the problem. That's kind of how I think too. It's like I have to be here when it's the full hour, and if I haven't left at 8, then I have to leave at 9. But then 9 is a bit late, and I have to wake up in the morning because I want to do my shower, and I want to eat some food, and I want to do my exercising. I want to do my squats. You know what I'm trying to do? Look at this though. Look at this though. Destruction of the Russians east of Terni. I'm trying. I saw a girl and she's like, and she's doing 1,000 push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and I'm trying to do 1,000 squats every day. I'm not doing 1,000 squats every day. It's too much. I'm trying to like do more and more daily until I actually reach 1,000. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, alright? Squats, like the exercise when you do the chick. You know what I mean? On stream? Not on stream yet. Not on stream yet. Listen, I can't. Then I have to buy the mirror. You know how, I'm actually doing a redecoration of the room soon. I need to buy a mirror so like you can see my ass, but so I don't have to turn it towards the camera. You know how they do it, right? Like there's a mirror in the back. So it's like, oh guys, I didn't want to show you my asshole, but there was just this mirror there. Gotta buy a pool. If Russians do a revolution because Navalny died, we're gonna do hot tub streams. Alright? Alright? Can we agree on that? There's cheap hot tubs. I need a reason to buy one. I mean cheap, 600 euros. It's not too much. I want a hot tub. I don't even know. I don't even know if hot tubs are like something fell to the floor. Oh no! Just become booba streamer? Okay, but consider booba streamer, but talking about war. Boink, boink, boink. How's the frontline situation? It gets people to vote. It gets people to vote. You know that woman on like TikTok who is doing the, oh, well? And then she talks to you about like how many people have been killed recently. Do you know which one? I don't know if you know which one I mean. She's always like dressed up in cosplays, and she's like, oh, well, thousands of Palestinians have been killed. And you're like, holy shit, woman. But like, it works. But it's so disturbing, because she does the whole anime girl voice. I think Hassan watched her on stream once. And ever since then, I found her. And sometimes I watch her when I want to feel really fucking disturbed by existing. Go for Dark Mirror. True. Arisa, does Arisa do politics? Can I talk politics with Arisa? Ukraine and France signed agreement on cooperation in the field of security. By the way, Ukraine got promised a lot of new fancy drones, so I'm kind of hopeful on that. I'm hopeful that they are going to... Oh, all right. I got hopeful that they are going to receive a lot of new fancy drones. Ewa in her stream title right this moment. I need to put Ewa in my stream title. I need to start them all with Ewa. I need to go like full, you know what I need to do? I need to like buy one of those pink wigs. You know how they do the like pink wig situation? And then someone doing the stream and you're like, Ewa, how are you doing? That would be fucking great. Yeah, I feel I need to do that. Would finally get my viewership over the Russian dude's one. I'm gonna make it redeemable. You have to give like 1,000 channel points. 1,000 channel points to get Ubu. Maga saying Navalny is the Russian Trump. Trump is the Russian Trump. For real. How is Navalny Russian Trump? Oh, she does TikToks. Is this the one who does TikToks? Wait, does she have a link to her TikTok? Because I know her from TikToks. I don't know her. Political Uwu videos. Yeah, that's the one. Look at her. Oh, she's so cute. It's a bit weird to watch her though, but she's like cute.
So lately a handful of people have been saying...
Shut up, I want to see the video.
Fake. More than half of Gaza's population is seeking refuge in Rafah, a city described by a UN office as a pressure cooker of despair. As the bombing adds to the mounting death toll of 28,000, civilians have nowhere left to run. An audit of the Los Angeles Police Department found that they spend about $120,000 a day on their near-constant helicopter flights. 61% of flight time is not used for high-priority crimes, but rather for VIP transportation, ceremonial flights, and general patrols, including shuttle flights for something called a Chile fly-in. They burn about 761,600 gallons of fuel per year. Over 10% of Finland's entire workforce went on strike to protest cuts to social welfare, protect workers' rights, and the right to strike. Unions have vowed to paralyze the country in order to force the government to back down, leading to canceled flights, blocked mail, closed factories, and halted public transportation. Ikimasen ka? Kawaii. Male bone...
Shut up. Fuck, now I need to look at this. Male bone-eating aquatic zombie worms. But have you seen the news about Sweden still fucking on strike because of like Elon Musk attempting to basically break the rules with his Tesla company? Apparently it's been going on for like 4 months at the point. They're still striking. They like refuse to work with the fucker. That's how youngings get their news nowadays. I mean, look, you're on a Twitch stream. You're on a Twitch stream. It's not really that different of a situation. It's just that I don't do the voice, but she does do the voice, and also she does teach you Japanese. So that's like useful. It's like Duolingo plus news.
Are so tiny that 50 to 100 of them can live inside a single female. More than half of Gaza's population is
what?
So tiny that
bone-eating aquatic zombie worms? Zombie. Am I gonna get some hentai shit if I click? What did Duolingo? Weird worms eat bones? Bone worm facts? Whale bone eating zombie worm? Come on. Show me.
And slowly eating away at them. Today we will take a closer look at these bizarre creatures.
Where's the female? How do they live inside a female? She said inside a female.
Oceans was also something of a paradox. Larvae floating through the deep ocean.
Oh yeah.
If they come across a sufficiently decomposed carcass of an animal, usually a whale, they will settle onto its bones and start growing. Rather than drilling into the bone in a conventional way, Osedax uses acid to dissolve its way into the skeleton. This acid is produced by root-like tissues on the front end of the worm's body, the part of the worm that penetrates the bone. At the other end, the end that sticks out of the bone, it develops feathery appendages that look a little bit like trees. These so-called palps function like lungs, taking in oxygen from the surrounding water.
Ew.
If you think about it, in a way,
bone-eating
they are very
zombie
similar to
worm.
plants, but they are worms nonetheless. The acid they are
What's the
exclusively
female?
Also maintain harems of dwarf males inside their palps that survive. But these bacteria aren't the only thing living inside the worms. Sexually mature worms, which are exclusively female, also maintain harems of dwarf males inside their palps that remain in their microscopic larvae stage and act as sperm donors.
So wait, the female is that part and then the male is this one?
In contrast to chromosomal sex determination found in mammals, for example, this is likely a form of environmental sex determination. If a larva comes into contact with bone, it develops into a female. If a larva comes into contact with another female,
The whole
however,
tree?
it transforms into a dwarf male. Females typically produce hundreds of eggs
So like all of these are females and then inside every single one of them is a harem.
daily. A large colony of osedax, considering of thousands of individuals, can therefore release millions of eggs per day into the ocean, which is essential for the opportunistic exploration of sunken vertebrate.
I actually have to leave though. I actually have to leave. But can I teach you my favorite things about sea creatures? Can I teach you my favorite things about sea creatures? This is the bobbitworm. This is my favorite sea creature. In fact, this is the bobbitworm. He looks like this. He looks like that, and this is what he does to a fish. Let me show you what he does to a fish. This is him, and he's gonna catch her. He's gonna go rah! At one point in this. Who the fuck knows why? Somewhere in this, okay, somewhere in this, he's gonna go like rah, fish, and then he catches her. But this is a loser bobbitworm, okay, because usually what they do is a bit stronger. What they can do is like he opens his jaws like this. And then if a small fish passes, he will slice her in half. He will do... And he's called a bobbitworm because he was named after Lorena Bobbitt, who... she was a woman who was suffering in a very violent marriage. Her husband was basically a piece of shit. So one night, Lorena Bobbitt got sick of his bullshit and cut off his dick and then went into a car and drove away and chunked the penis into a nearby field. Yeah, Franken penis. Yes, yes, yes. And then the police was called and the police was like, oh no, shit, what did you do? And she was like, yeah, I took the penis and I chunked it into a random field. And they quickly went there and they found the field. They found the penis in the field, or more so. And they have managed to reattach it to the man. But the story made headlines everywhere. And this was around the time when this worm was discovered. Because he was actually discovered in an aquarium. He was discovered because the fish was missing from this aquarium. Look at how big this grows, right? The fish was missing from this aquarium. So I think it was a mall which like had a huge aquarium from which the fish were missing. And the mall was like, kind of weird. Why in the world is our fish missing? Like there's no, like it's an aquarium. It's not like they have natural predators or whatever, you know, why are they missing? So they went through the sand in this aquarium to figure out what's going on and what's sussed out. And they found this just there. They just found this beast there. He was eating the fish. And then when that, like, you know, huge worm slicing fish came into the news, people were like, this is like that Lorena Bobbitt, the dick cutter. So he's now called the Bobbitt worm. That's how he got the name. So that's your interesting story for today. Nobody cares about Navalny. I mean, of course. He's genuinely, like, his death is the strongest type of activism he did. It's like most change he was going to bring in society overall, and it's not even going to bring a change in society in Russia. It might bring some change in the way we perceive Russia. If we act now and if we demand some sort of a response from our international allies now, we might actually get it on top of, you know, the current breaking story. But like that's that. That's basically that. Telegram having FSB backdoors, and that's why normal people don't share crucial information there. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that. Yeah, of course. Like, it has ties to Russia overall. What was that about, like, them being able to access your information? I remember reading about that. There was, like, a lot of panic, in a way, when the whole thing started, where people were talking about the fact that, like, you have to give your phone number and everything, and it's kind of suspicious, you know. But yeah, you know, like, use it carefully. Telegram? Oh, I was having this woman's loading screen open this whole time and I didn't notice. She started talking and I was like, huh? Okay, fair. But yeah, Telegram, look, I know Ukrainians also share information on Telegram sometimes, specifically because you can share like higher quality information on Telegram, high quality videos on Telegram than you can share on Twitter. So, you know, I'm GG with it being used. You look so scared. I was like, what? And I thought it was a TikTok playing in the background, and then I saw that the sound, not the sound little thing isn't on TikTok, and then I was like, that was concerning. But wait, I have to go though. eBay? Authentic autographed? For how much money? Do we want it? Do we want it? Yes or no? Do we want it? Fundraiser. I'm gonna create a fundraiser. We're gonna do one of those. You know when people make those like little donation goals on the bottom of the stream? Let me pay my bills or something. I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna be like, let me buy the Franken penis. I can see. I'm kind of interested what it looks like. Are you not interested what it looks like? I'm kind of interested what it looks like. Why is there one image just... All of the other images, like of the actual cover. And then... Ron Jeremy, if I knew who Ron Jeremy was, that would have been great. I don't dare to Google him on my... Fuck, my phone died. Can't Google him. Can't Google him. Also, I genuinely have to go. Mental gymnastics on how Navalny was actually killed by Joe Biden. That would actually be impressive, though. Imagine if CIA could get balls deep into Russia. That would be impressive. That would be impressive, you know. Too young to know the man. Small fat man with big ding dong. Why would he be allowed to act with Franken penis, though? I imagine if I was the Franken penis dude, I would be quite self-conscious about it already, you know, and then having the small fat man with big fat peen. But Telegram? Sex offender now? Oh shit. Yeah, Monday. Also, maybe tomorrow. Maybe stream tomorrow. Cause I probably don't have anything to do tomorrow. I'm probably gonna be a fucking loser tomorrow. Cause like I can't really go to a social thing. I have to basically go and buy a bunch of shit tomorrow in Serbia. I'm going to Serbia. So I have to go to Serbia after work. I love how he was like, he's been filtered. You know that Instagram filter where like colorful glasses are put in your face there? I'm sorry, I have to go to Serbia though. You're a loser today already. True. But I have to go to Serbia because we're working on redecorating the house. And basically we gotta buy paint. We gotta buy some paint for like the lower levels of the house. And then next weekend, I'm making my boyfriend go with me to buy paint for like my level of the house, because we're gonna do some painting. We're gonna do some redecoration. I want to install some nice lights, and I'm want to install a nice little mirror so you can look at my ass. And I want to install a bunch of shit, alright? So I'm probably gonna start doing like the whole redecoration thing soon. I'm kind of hyped about it. You know what I want? I want those like those little lights that you just plop them around. You like glue them to surfaces, and then you have a little remote and you change the colors. I like that. I'm not really happy about the whole, you know, the ones that you light to the corners. I want the ones that are just like ploppable. So I think I'm gonna get a bunch of these too. I've got some plans. I'm having fun, you know. I got my paycheck, and it's a bit better than the paychecks before because Croatia had to make the minimum wage higher. European Union, thank you. So because the minimum wage is now higher, I got more money and I can buy some shits that I couldn't really buy before. Framed autographs for the redecoration. That would be great, actually, though. Imagine that. Imagine you walk into a girl's room. Okay, imagine the scenario. Imagine the scenario with me. You're in a coffee shop. And you're drinking your coffee, right? And there's a beautiful girl there. And you're like... so you meet up. And she invites you to her room. And you go with her. And the first thing you see... humongous, framed, signed... cover of the Franken penis porn. Would that be a plus or would it be a minus? I'm saying plus. I'm saying plus because it's interesting. You know, it's like you see bare walls, you're like, eh, I'm gonna like fuck this person and forget. You see a Franken penis on a wall though, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna remember this girl. You know, for like the next 10 years, even if the bangy bangy goes badly, you're going to remember her as a Franken penis girl. Can you forget about cousin penis? Not really. I do wonder how it works. Get a stripper pole. Hey, but I can't strip. I don't know how to do the how to do the whole thing. I did want to get a stripper pole. You know what's my fear? I've seen women who have stripper poles in their rooms, and yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Like they try to do exercising on them, and the pole, I guess it's not installed properly, but it just plops to the ground. And I'm kind of scared of doing something like that. Like, I'm not opposed to a pole. I'm scared that I won't be able to install it properly. Sure, if you ask your boyfriend nicely, you can cut it off. I asked him, you know what I asked him? I learned, do you guys know how sheep are castrated? Have we talked about how sheep are castrated? Not sheep. What's the word for a male sheep in English? Ovan. What's ovan in English? Huh. Ram? Ram? No, animal, you fucker. Is it a ram? Yeah, these. You know how, but like not the mountain ones, but like the proper ones. These ones. Do you know how these animals are castrated? Because I'm about to tell you how they are castrated. They're castrated. Basically, you take a rubber band and you take their balls and you put the rubber band around it. Nice and tight. And then you just leave it there. You just leave it there and they can't get blood flow, and then they like shrink up. And that's that. That's that. Like no blood, no cutting, no anything. They just fall off after a while. It hurts. How do you know? How do you know? Have you attempted it? You haven't? But yeah, I've learned that, and then I was like, hey, you know, since we're not really planning to have kids at any point. And he didn't really like the idea, I have to say. he wasn't too happy. But listen, it sounds like simple. It's what people here used to be doing, not to castrate their animals, but it's a banned practice now. You know, like when you have dogs, which are supposed to have a shorter tail. And then what people would be doing is like when the dog is really, really small, they put a rubber band on its tail And also, like, it stops getting blood flow and it just falls off after a while. It's a banned practice right now because not everyone was doing it in that way, which is, by the way, the safer way to do it. Painful, immensely painful it has to be, but it's the safe way to do it, because what people used to be doing was they would just like fucking cut it off. Yeah. It was the less cruel method while still being incredibly cruel, but people were using the actual cruel method, and the veterinarians, they figured out that they can't really know. Right, like you bring a dog to them when it's already, you know, a bit bigger because it needs to get the medication to not get rabies. And when you bring a dog to them, they can't really figure out if the dog, you know, if you use the safe method or if you just cut off the fucking tail like a madman. So then they just banned the practice. Right now you can't do it. If they know you did it, they will have to report you, which I fully support because people are fucking mad over this, okay? It's a horrible practice. It's a trend to get a vasectomy now? Why did I hear it has an effect on your libido? Is that true? I don't even know where I read it. I remember reading it somewhere. Because for a second I remember being like, why are the women only ones who have, like, you know, we get pills, but men don't really have pills to be drinking. And it seems like relatively unfair, you know, there's pills for women to drink if you don't want to stay pregnant, but there's no pills for men to drink if they don't want to make a woman pregnant. And a man can technically fuck a lot more women. Know what I mean? Like, if you're a dude and you're a hoe, it would make sense that there's some pills for you. And then I was like, why don't men just get vasectomies and then reverse it? And yes, the first thing I learned is that it's not always reversible. And it's not always fully reversible. So sometimes you may not be able to reverse it at all, and sometimes you will be able to reverse it, but it will not be the same as it was before. But then also, what else did I want to get into? I've read somewhere that it has an effect on their libido. Now, to be fair, the pills that women drink, they also have effect on our libido. So it's like, you know, it's like sucks in both directions when it comes to that. You have to kill every single damn sperm cell. Can't you just like impact production? I have no idea how that works. I looked it up like years ago. I wasn't even in a relationship then. I was interested in the financial aspect because I was put on birth control pills as a teenager, not for actual birth control reasons, but because I had very painful periods at the time. So they were like, this is going to help you control your hormones. And it actually did, right? It actually did. But they were quite expensive at the time. I don't know if it was because I didn't have proper like extra health insurance. I do have it right now. I don't know how much they would cost now. I need to test that. But they were quite expensive now. And then I was like, yeah, you know, like if we want to, because we had the conversations at the time in the country about like teenage birth rates and everything. And I was like, damn, isn't it more expensive to give like to every single girl the pill? Because there's, my dude, why wouldn't we just give it to the dudes? One dude can fuck a lot of women. Sick, one dude, come on. Pick out the few whole men creating the problem, give them the pill, that's that. But yeah, apparently it causes a lot of problems. Stop one egg or stop a million sperm cells? Yeah, that's true. Though it fucks up your hormones regardless, right? The ability to go raw without having a kid is a big libido boost. Oh, so it evens it out. You lose some because your hormones are impacted, and then you gain some because you can go raw. So it's like oral beats contraceptives. Like pills. Effects on heart strongly, I guess, could be. Wasn't it the same for women too, though? What were those pills that women were dying from? Yasmin? You guys remember Yasmin panic? Was it Yasmin? thinking of another one? There was one that women were dying from, and I thought it was this one, and it was this one. It was this one, yeah. And it was suspected in causing deaths of some women, and then it stopped being recommended as far as I know. My mother was on this one, and I know several of her friends were also on this one because they panicked a lot when this news was breaking out. Also, I gotta go. I'm actually leaving. We're gonna watch Dobson, okay? We're gonna go watch Dobson. I'm gonna see what Dobson is doing, and I'm gonna bully him a little bit, and then I'm gonna go take a shower, and then I'm gonna go to sleep, alright? Because I have to go to sleep. I have to wake up tomorrow. Also, I saw a message. Where did I see a message? I saw an invite to go out. And I was like, I gotta be answering to this one. And then I forgot. But, smart detection. What's a smart detection? But, yeah, I have to go work tomorrow. I'm a fucking loser and I have to work Saturdays. Girl born without a vagina and got pregnant from oral due to stomach ulcer. Oh, you know that story about a girl who got shot? What's the story? The girl who got shot in her stomach? And then something, she stayed pregnant because of it. Is that the same story? Is that the same legend? Riot police, 3 minutes ago. Riot police sent against the anti-Orban regime protesters. Hungarian anti-Orban protesters tried to break through the police cordon and reach the governing party headquarters. Oh man. If Orban is kicked out tomorrow, my dude. Let's be positive. Let's be positive over this, and then let's go. Anti-Orban protest. Basically, the fact that he's a piece of shit. But also, they're doing lots of never again, because he is very pro-Putin. But also, they had... what's the word? They had a scandal recently. I remembered it. They had a scandal recently where the Hungarian president has had to resign because she was giving out pardons to people who were in prison while the Pope was coming to the country. And she has given a pardon to a man who has been in prison because he has forced kids, victims of sexual assault, to... basically not report the person who had assaulted them. So he was in prison for this reason, and then she pardoned him. And then, of course, when the public learned that she did this, they were like, oh, Fidesz, a pedophilia supporters. So she resigned, and she resigned very quickly. It was very impressive to me how it wasn't even like the scandal was brewing. The scandal was really strong, but I didn't expect it to resign so quickly. Yeah, Novak. So she resigned, and then another politician from Fidesz party also resigned. The party for traditional family values, by the way, may I just mention, traditional family values party? Right? So they both resign, but people are still pissed off at Fidesz, and then also with Orban being a piece of shit and being very, very corrupt and being horrible for the country, they're protesting right now. They're doing huge protests right now. So be hopeful. Comes in visit to Romania and talks and sings about stealing out Transylvania. Orban wore a scarf for a while. You remember his scarf? With like a Great Hungary? And he was just like parading it around. Like that's a normal thing. Like I don't know, this day and age, this century, and you're walking around with a scarf with Great Hungary? Are you fucking normal? Are you fucking normal? Not reporting is a traditional value. I mean, to be fair, yeah. Can't even fight that, yeah, true. Yeah. He's a piece of shit. So I'm happy to see these protests. I don't know if anything's going to happen out of them, but I'm happy to see these protests. Even though, again, important to remember these protests are happening in the capital of Hungary. Orban's greatest supporters were never the city people. Orban's greatest supporters were always people in the villages. It was the rural areas. The fact that people are protesting in the city means that his actual voting base still likely doesn't give a shit about this. They can still kick him out though. It's still the capital itself. This is still a huge number of people. So still presents a danger to his claim to power. But it's important to remember that he never really was that popular among normal people in the cities. He was always a person that was more liked by the very Greater Hungary types, who mostly are very rural. Trump wanted to pay 364 million? Hey, I saw a lot of clips. I saw a lot of clips of some case going on right now. I do not understand it. There was a woman. There was some woman. And she was... lots of people were like clipping her speeches and like her testimony on the court, and I didn't really understand what she was doing that. And then I didn't really Google because it's American politics, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna watch Dylan and he's gonna tell me what it is. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm happy that Trump has to pay. I'm happy Trump is losing. Budapest mayor was a position of Orban. Look, I'm hoping they throw him out. I'm hoping they throw him out fully. Overvaluing properties. That could have made sense. I just remember the woman. That's all I remember. That's the DA in Atlanta that he wanted removed from his case. It was weird. I remember one clip of hers where they ask her some stupid question and she's like, am I on trial? Like, it's not me on trial, it's this dude on trial. Why are you asking me all of this? Which, like, yeah, and that's when I figured that it wasn't her on trial, actually. All up until that point, I thought she was the criminal, because I saw so many clips of her. And then she goes, it's not me on this trial. And I'm like, it isn't? So, yeah, interesting things is always happening from USA. Love you people very much. They're easy sheep, then. Yeah, villages. We have a joke here. We have HDZ. HDZ is basically a more normal but Croatian version of Fidesz party. And there's a saying here that HDZ voters start where roads end. Because previously, while we were in times of Yugoslavia, we had like city infrastructure developed, but not really the village infrastructure, right? So then when we, came into Croatian lands and we had HDZ as our ruling party, it remained that the city infrastructure was really well developed, but the village one really, really wasn't. And it was usually villagers who were falling for populist bullshit. It still is. Like, you want to get people to be really, really hateful over something, you go preach it to the villagers and they're gonna get hyped up over it. You don't preach it to the city people. City people are normal. Villagers are very, very easy to get really, really riled up. But yeah, I have to go. I have to escape. So I'll be seeing you maybe tomorrow. All right, maybe tomorrow, if I come back from Serbia on time. So stay strong, stay healthy, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're going to be doing. And yeah, good luck, my dudes. Pray that Russians start protesting.